All right, guys, give me a minute to finish setting things up. I'm trying to get ready for our guest. I believe he should be ready very soon here. He is on the East Coast, so that's why we're starting a little early. I'm trying to get him in before it's like freaking middle of the night where he is. That being said, guys, happy to have you all here. I know Wednesdays have been kind of a weird one for me. We've been doing a little bit more, we're mixing things up, doing more discussions and less indie games, although I still want to feature indie games on the channel. We just are trying to mix things up here, make it a little more fun, a little more interesting for you guys. Skip the intro. Oh yeah, I got a new hat. Had to go to get a hat at Costco. Good old Costco, they always got fun stuff. All right, so guys, I am going to prepare to get our guest in here. Hopefully he is ready. Hate to keep him waiting too long. We've got a lot to discuss in the meantime. If you are interested in picking up some games, hopefully not this one right here. But again, I'm not going to tell you what to buy, what to purchase. You're going to enjoy what you want to enjoy, and you can definitely spend your money how you want. But there is a link for Instant Gaming down below. It'll save you some money. It'll support the channel. I greatly appreciate you guys supporting us in any way you can. And yeah, save yourself a few bucks if you're going to pick up a copy of Monster Hunter Wilds, if you still haven't gotten Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Crusader Kings DLC here, which is, again, a fantastic game. I gave up on Crusader Kings 3 because it was too difficult for me. It was too much. Hey, Ryan, how's it going tonight? Hurin, good to see you. Mahendra, he'll be back in 5 minutes. Sounds good to me. Lame and gay game. I know, but here's the thing. There are people that I will forgive because the normies who just want a good Assassin's Creed game are gonna play it because they think maybe this is the one. I can forgive those people. And even the people who are streaming it, who are content creators like Kata over on his channel. He's doing a 24-hour stream playing this game to show everybody just how good or bad it is. I can respect people who are doing honest playthrough of games to show people what the game is all about. So I have no problem with that. I get it. It's one thing to complain about it and then say, well, why are you supporting the company if you're complaining and saying don't buy it? But at least it's one person playing it rather than 1,000 people or rather than 10,000 people. I'm sure you get what I'm saying. Yes, it seems a little contradictory, but I truly believe it's better to have one content creator playing a game than 1,000 people waste their money on it, if it's not a good game. So, all right, that being said, I am going to switch to my other screen and send Mr. Hardcore the link to get him on here. I'm very tired. Hopefully I don't ramble too much tonight, guys. It's been a very long week already, and it just feels like it's getting even longer. So we're going to switch screens, and I'm going to get the link sent over to him. Hopefully your week is going well, guys. Hopefully you are all staying dry over here in the sunny, beautiful, gorgeous Pacific Northwest. It is cold, it is wet, it is windy. It's not getting any better anytime soon, unfortunately. All right, where the hell on Streamlabs is this source that I need to send him? Collab cam, here we go. Add the source. Collab cam, that works. Not yet sending your video. We'll start collab cam. Webcam source, we're good. Share video source, yes indeed. Display capture. All right, we're good there. So the only bummer, when I had the 40K Empress on here before with Streamlabs, unlike StreamYard, when you share your screen, I guess it doesn't share audio as well. So we're not gonna be able to watch any video where he can probably hear it, but I'm sure the Mr. Hardcore Mode has already seen most of the videos that we're gonna go over on the stream tonight. Hey, Sally. Watched Asmongold live stream the game a couple of times. The voice acting is pure wretchedness. It is terrible. All right, Mahendra, we'll see you in 10. More of an anime gamer. Nothing wrong with that. So guys, I am not the kind of person to only read the chat when there's super chats. If you've been here before for my streams, I try to read the chat all the time. I try to stay consistent with that. Most of the fun we have on the channel here is interacting with chat the entire time during a stream. But when I have guests on here, please don't think I'm ignoring you. I just want to not cut him off. I want to be able to have a dialogue. And then, of course, I'll read the chat as we're discussing. And if I see something pertinent, I will definitely address it. The only thing is, please don't feel pressured like I'm trying to get you guys to super chat. That is not it at all. I just don't want to interrupt him while we're talking, all right? Oh, the voice work is absolutely Absolutely wretched. Yeah. Did I get that link? Let me see if I got that. I'm going to send it over to him. Here we go. Once he is in, we'll have a good discussion about all this, I'm pretty sure. No, Zav, no. No. I am being as 100% honest as I possibly can. I will never say no to money. However, I truly do not expect anybody to super chat just to have me read their comment. I try to read the chat consistently regardless of the situation. I'm just prefacing the stream because I remember when I was streaming with 40k Empress, it was a little hard to keep up with the chat the entire time while we were having a discussion, especially given the fact that she's in Bulgaria, I'm here in the United States. We have a small language barrier, although she's very fluent. So it was just kind of a situation where I'm like, all right, I don't know how this is going to go. All right, so there we are. I feel bad making him have to hop on here so late, but why did that get quiet? Okay, I see him. I got him. Here we go. Not sure if you got a green screen, if that's going to work, buddy, or not, but let's try this.
It's fine.
All right. So I have got you now. Perfect. How are you doing?
I'm good. You guys can hear me all right?
Yeah, let him know if we need to turn him up at all, guys. I don't think I can do very much on my end. I've got the volume set at 100%.
Usually I'm loud. Trying not to yell.
Trying not to do any of that hard rant that you do, right?
Yeah, I am really trying not to do that.
Well, see, I used to have to be a lot more careful about it because I have a wall between me and my twins. But the older they get, it's like they'll sleep through anything at this point. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever.
Oh yeah, sleeping like a log.
Pretty much.
Do that.
Yeah.
My dad can hear a pin drop when I'm trying to go downstairs at 3 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah, like he knows.
All right, so if we can turn your volume up a little bit, if you have the option on your end, let's turn your volume up a bit.
Let's check. Speakers.
I know that 40k Empress was able to boost her volume. I just can't do it any more than I already have on my end.
Oh, I think I have an idea.
Oh, wait, hang on. Before you do that, let me fix this. All right, now give it a try.
Testing. What up, what up?
That should be coming through a lot louder now.
A lot louder? Okay, I won't make any adjustments otherwise.
Yeah, you just sit tight on that end. I think I was being a dumbass, so.
It's all good, we'll figure it out.
So, if your volume is good, I'm waiting for somebody in the chat to say that we're good. I'm going to let you give yourself a little plug here, kind of tell people about you. All right, so they're saying you're back.
Yep.
Perfect. All right.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, let everyone know kind of what you do on your channel. I know you do mostly gaming, but obviously we all kind of do a lot of discussion about culture topics, whatnot, so.
Oh yeah, I try to not do this whole, like there's certain subjects that I don't touch on, but mostly I want to be an open book. But hey guys, everybody, my name is Mr. Hardcore Mode where nothing's easy. I do Let's Plays on my channel, but I also do, controversy stuff related to gaming and other stuff like entertainment, like the Fallout series that came out. I even touched up on that. I do that sort of thing all in one channel. I don't try to split up my channels, but yeah, I try to have a good time, have some laughs. We kind of have a dark humor over on our side, so yeah, good to see y'all.
Hey, dark humor is a good thing in my opinion. I mean,
exactly.
It has its limits, but it's typically. I'm going to put your link down here in the chat, guys. Feel free to go subscribe to Mr. Hardcore Mo. So, ironically, I found you through Daniel Vavra, which is hilarious because, I mean, the whole controversy. You've been playing through Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I know you were massively. Oh, you finished it?
Yeah, finished.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome ending.
Okay.
I know there's more. I don't know if they're gonna do a KCD 3, but yeah, good game. I highly recommend. But yes, that video, the message I sent to Daniel Vavra, everything that I said on that video, I still hold to this day, like 100%. I agree with. I haven't changed my mind, except one thing.
What's that one thing?
Bruh, you did it for Reddit weirdos. Okay?
Yes, yes.
The black guy's just fine. Everybody was saying something like, yo, he said in the past that why would there be black people in Bohemia? Black people is plural. There's only one guy over there. And
Trust
he
me,
was
I get it. I felt the same way about that. But when you said that about Reddit weirdos, I 100%. When I found that interview, somebody sent it to me
yeah.
where Toby was talking to that podcast, and when Toby said Daniel had people sending him art, like fan art of Hans and Henry together, I'm like, oh my
See,
god, he did it for the shippers.
don't guys, if you're ever doing any sort of art for yourself and you're starting to build up a repertoire, it's cool to listen to the shippers, but do not become the shippers, okay?
Exactly.
That is where things go to die, okay? You know what the funny thing is? It's always the shippers when it comes to gay relationships to two characters that you didn't think were going to be together. When
Right.
it's like a male and female, those shippers live and die so fast. But the gay shippers are like, we're staying here forever until we die. And
So
I'm like,
the one exception I'd say to that was the Raylos. Did you remember the whole Raylo thing that happened with around the Disney sequel trilogy?
and like I said, it died, didn't it?
It died because Disney killed Star Wars. So I mean that was pretty. Yeah.
With,
So
but
Zav
they
says,
also
"Where did you
killed
get that shirt?"
this shirt. I got it on Etsy.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you go.
check it out. I try to get most of my shirts from Etsy. I don't get my pants at Etsy because everybody's short.
Yeah.
But my shirts I get from Etsy. I got a Berserk shirt over here. I got a Perfect Blue. If anybody ever has seen that old school anime, y'all are young. Y'all don't know.
I got a lot of anime fans that follow me. I'm the guy that doesn't really watch anime, but half the people that are on my channel and Discord are always watching and talking about anime.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play. I have an AC on. I hope you don't hear any blowing. Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, cool.
I can't imagine having air conditioning on right now. It's like freaking 40 degrees here right now.
Well, okay.
All right, chat. Like I said before, I'm just gonna let you guys know again. I'm gonna try to read the chat as we go along, but I don't want to cut him off and short his time because I don't know. What's your kind of time frame look like?
I'm good, man.
You're good.
If you got like 3 to 4 hours, I'm good.
All right. I mean, we'll probably cut it off at about 3. So.
I know you're 38 years old. You need your nappy nap.
Hey, we're in the same boat right there, man.
We're on the same boat. Yeah, we're on the same boat. We're the same age, so yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I was playing a little bit of BioShock, the remastered version, because I wanted to come back and see some old games. And I'm gonna tell you right now, for some odd reason, going back to oldie games, you're just like, why isn't this the norm now?
Oh, for real.
You know what I mean?
For real.
I'm playing the game and I'm just like, yo, this is good. How come I'm seeing Avowed right now? So
there's something there's something to that conversation, because unfortunately what a lot of people were expecting gaming to turn into has just become basically like Hollywood, where everything good has been done and now it's replaced by people who don't know how to do it as well as the guys who made it before. And
actually you bring up a good thing, because I was reading one of the commentary on the remastered for the BioShock game, and the director was literally talking about what you just said. He said, if you're gonna do something, make it 100% and focus on that. Go 100% on it. Do not make a product or a project and you're only 50 or 40% in it. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where, like, I think their lore and their mythos and their world of Rapture was fully focused, and it withstands the test of time, because I'm playing the game and it feels like I'm playing a brand new game. But yeah, I think that's what we're having right now, is we're having like brand new people that come straight out of school and all they know how to use is the Unreal Engine. And we got activists on there, and then we got veterans that are being fired because of their skin color or what have you. And it's a whole bunch of stuff where I'm just like, something's got to give, man. Like when I see people and they're just like, well, I don't get why this game failed, and I'm just like, I saw your wall of video games, and you're telling me you couldn't take 2 seconds and think, you know what, maybe it's the developers, you know what I mean, just maybe it's something's up.
Right.
And then I don't know.
Well, it's the same thing for every field and every industry, I think, personally, because the people who created, the people who built it, the people who we went through a lot of modernization, over the last 60 to 80 years, and we've kind of gotten to that point where we've optimized things so well. Now my dog's chasing my cat. We've optimized things so well that unfortunately the people who are doing things now are just basically going through what they were trained to do. If everything crapped out tomorrow, the people who made everything work now aren't here anymore, or at least they're retired. So
I think that's a perfect example. Is you remember the whole Bethesda with their bugs? Like, it was cute back in Fallout New Vegas.
Right.
Now it's 2025 and we're just like, okay, these bugs got to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, now they can just call it's jank, it's fun, it's quirky. It's like, no, it's annoying.
No, it's annoying now. I'm a grown ass man. I want a fixed game. You're gonna have your game breaking bugs. Like, you'll play a game and it's jank, and you'll hear your friend like, "Yo, man, I can't move forward in the stories. Like, yeah, I got a game breaking bug," and you're like, "Holy crap, I gotta stop playing."
Well, what was funny was back when that Escape from Tarkov, Zav, you remember, you played that game a lot. There was a sci-fi game that was basically like an extraction shooter clone of Escape from Tarkov, but it had, more like it's space travel and planets and all sorts of stuff. But again, it was PvE, PvP with monsters and other combatants and all that.
Is it the one that got canceled?
It did.
I know which one that one was.
I played it once or twice. I'm like, this could be interesting if it gets really good. Who knows, right? There was a time where I actually got stuck in the rocks and I reported the bug, and I'm like, I wonder if they'll ever get around to fixing it. And 6 months later, it's like, oh no, they canned the game. The cycle, there you go. Yep.
Yeah. The cycle, that's what it was.
It was a cool concept for a game. I thought it could have been really good.
I think they had one of the best skyboxes around. Like, I think along with Stalker 2 and Nightingale, that's another indie game. There's a lot of games with really cool skyboxes, but their world was, you would see the same monsters and the same things over and over again. Sure. And there was no flavor to because now it's no longer just you're a dirty guy, you get shot, and now you have to eat 15 different medicines. No, you're in a fantasy sort of sci-fi world. Go crazy with your head. And they didn't focus on that. And that's I guess you could say money talks, I guess, but yeah, I really wanted that to succeed, but anyway.
So Zav actually played a lot of that. He says the game was awesome and ended up dying because the socials team kept screwing and blacklisting content creators until it died off. That's brutal. It's so funny that like these community managers and these PR people just don't understand how to. I mean, okay, so I was raised in retail, and although I don't believe it, they always say the customer's always right. Yeah. Even though we all know it's not true. You're supposed to approach the situation as if the customer's right. And then obviously when case-by-case basis, that's going to shift. If the customer is an insane lunatic, you're not going to, baby talk them. You're, okay, I'm done. We've had enough, right?
listen to the shippers, but don't
cater to the shippers. Yes.
What do they say in Fallout New Vegas in the radio? Listen to the shippers, but do not fear the shippers. But yeah, like a lot of stuff, especially what I think that was the thing that made Baldur's Gate 3 grow, was because of the community feedback. But what was so cool about what Sven Vinka did is he was able to reach people at a neutral level where they were like, okay, we'll add the pronouns, but we need to understand that this is a video game for gamers, and we need to stop focusing on different penis sizes. Yeah. And let's focus on the gameplay. Like there was a certain level. I think that was cool because a lot of the developers respected him for that, because everybody said it's like, oh, how, like interviews will be like, oh, how did your game survive all those years? Oh, Sven Vinka. Yeah. So I think that sense of leadership is very important, where you have to be strict, but also realize you got to have fun with the game. And also another thing, developers out there, you need to play your own game. You need to play your own game,
It's
please.
not rocket science. It's really
It's
not.
not
It's
rocket
really
science.
not.
If you play your game for 6 hours straight and you say I'm bored at 3 hours, there's something wrong. Okay, you need to do that. That's all.
Well, that's the whole trying to make a corporate product, and that's what, again, people call it Ubisoft for a reason, versus something that is a passion project. I mean, one of my favorite, most like surprising indie games was Choo Choo Charles, which came out a couple years ago, and that game, one developer, one guy. I mean, he hired some people to like do voice acting and stuff, but he did it himself. So I was gonna start off talking about some of this Assassin's Creed Shadow stuff, but now that we're talking about developers, I actually saved something for the end of the stream. I'm going to bring it up right now. I don't know if you've seen this. This is from Sandy Peterson, who I'm sure you know the name. He was, let me bring up his Twitter bios here. He was a CEO of Peterson Games, also known for Doom, the Age of Empires series, and more. Okay, so he's a big shot. I saw this tweet come across my timeline the other day, and this is just amazing. So did you ever play Age of Empires 2?
I saw that on Twitter for 2 seconds, and I liked the art, and I just passed by it. What's going on?
All right, so this is a story that this guy, back when he was working on the expansion pack, which I still have the original disc for the original. I have the game discs from when this game only had like 6 civilizations. It was crazy. Completely different from the game that we have now. So he said, in 1999, I was assigned to design the expansion pack to Age of Empires 2. I chose the Conquerors as the theme, and I was wishing to have 4 civilizations as we had Rise of Rome. I chose the Spanish, the Aztecs, the Huns, and the Mayans.
Cool.
The project went ahead extremely well. We were almost completely finished, 5 weeks ahead of schedule as of January 2000. I was excited to move on to Age of Empires 3, which I didn't play, and I don't think it ever did that well, to be honest. Then Microsoft called, and we had an important conference call. It's like, here's the right? So even though this guy is super excited about what he's doing, he made a great game. And honestly, if you go to Twitch right now, and I know Twitch is a dumpster fire, but like Age of Empires 2 still has a massive presence in the gaming community, both as far as like competitive games, streamers, you name it. It's a huge game still. Very loyal fan base, right? Very loyal.
What's the newest one? Age of Empires 6?
4 is the latest, but it's not very good. In fact, I think Age of Empires 4 has less viewers on Twitch than Age of Empires 2 does.
Yeah, I just wanted to check out the number differentiation.
Yeah, 4 fell off really bad. They put it on Game Pass, and I tried it. I'm like, this is not going to bring me back in, right?
Yeah, I tried it out, and I Snoresville.
Exactly. So he went on to say, Microsoft said, we want you to add the Koreans to the Conquerors pack.
Sweet.
So it sounds cool, but here's the thing. It said, I said Koreans, greatly to their credit, were not conquerors. They stayed in their lane. While they're cool, they didn't quite fit the conquerors theme. Here was Microsoft's argument. StarCraft sold 3 million copies in Korea. Here was my counter argument, which seemed pretty valid to me. StarCraft doesn't have any Koreans in it, so those sales had zero to do with the Korean civilization. Microsoft, but StarCraft sold 3 million copies in Korea.
Oh.
He says, I could see where this was going. Once someone simply repeats a previous argument, it's clear that they're no longer functioning from logic or intelligence. And this is why this conversation kind of steered me in this direction, because I'm like, this is exactly what we're talking about. You have a developer who knows exactly what they want to do and what would sell, and then he's beholden to some corporation that says, no, we want you to do this, or add this to your game or whatnot.
Holy...
I didn't know this at the time. I knew nothing about this at all.
Wait, this was back in the day, or was this recent?
You can turn that off if you need to. This was back in 2000. This expansion pack came out in 2000, I think, is when it launched, right? So
I love StarCraft, but there's no Koreans in Star. There's not people going oi say oi oi over in fighting Zergs and stuff.
No, not at all.
I love StarCraft. I wish they brought StarCraft back, but this is eye-opening, because I always thought that, well, not always. Recently, I've been thinking that Microsoft is just doesn't know what regular people do or play or enjoy. And that just solidifies my perspective, because I'm over here thinking like, oh, all they have to do is just look online and see what people like and see, see what normal
Exactly. It
people
shouldn't be
do.
that hard.
And then I hear this and I'm like, oh, they're lost in the sauce.
And this is 25 years
Oh,
ago. This has been 2.5 decades at this point.
you ever feel like that you're always broke and you try to figure out, why am I always broke? And then you see these people with dumb ideas and you're thinking like, how did they got money?
I've felt this way for a long time. It's like I'm decent at writing. I know nothing about cinematography or filming, directing movies, managing a set, all that kind of stuff. But I know I could come up with better ideas than 90% of what we have in Hollywood, or if they needed, narrative stuff done for video games, I'm sure that I could do better than 90% of what's out there in the last 10 years.
And it's not even, at this point, it's not even a risk thing. It's
No.
literally they're devoid of risk. And I say I still believe firmly high risk, high reward. Like, people have two jobs and they know it sucks to have two jobs, but they know if they have two jobs, they'll get a lot of money and they will be able to, purchase an apartment or a house.
Right.
That's just how it is with life. And also it also applies to having like a career in that sort of thing, and you have ideas. But it seems to me like we see the same, like, perfect example, Volition. They're the same people that did Saints Row.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they failed 3 times, 3 different games, 2 other games that nobody knows about, and the new Saints Row game,
which was complete garbage.
And Embracer Group like fed them 3 times on those 3 games. PR budget, all that worth, all of it. They spent all that money, and people are looking at Embracer like, oh, they're the bad people. I'm over here like, no, not really. If somebody gives you 3 video game, 3 tries, and you mess up 3 times, that's a you issue. Now, Embracer has its issues. That's true. Like the whole Eidos, the people that made Deus Ex. Like,
yes.
They literally got rid of Deus Ex. I was like, are you allergic to money?
Well, I mean, look what happened with the whole Nemesis system with freaking Wonder Woman and everything else. It's like, talk about like a completely missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, think about it. People watched Rings of Power, because we wanted to see how bad it was. But because there were still massive numbers of Lord of the Rings fans who were like, okay, we never got anything from the Second Age. Mm-hmm. So if you made a game based on the actual, book, the Silmarillion and stuff, and you used what you already had, I mean, think about just how, and I don't know if Embracer has the rights to the Second Age. I know that there's a lot of different people in the middle of that, like who has the rights to which part of Lord of the Rings and all that, but still, you could print money with that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if I remember correctly, there were certain things that was in Rings of Power that were ultimately cool, but they took it out, and all they replaced it with was girl bossing and boring stuff. And like, I love cool conversations and stuff like that, but if your conversations are boring and you replaced it, like 2 girls talking about like, oh, the, what are they called? It starts with an N. The the one colony that
Numenor. Yeah,
Numenor.
Yep.
Like, there's so many awesome things about Numenor, but they reduced Numenor to just
they were terrible.
Island.
Good lord, that was the worst part of the entire show, and that's sad because Numenor should have been amazing. It should have been honestly cooler than anything with the elves. It should have been something. Because in Lord of the Rings, you don't get the humans who are badass. You get, everything's depressing and bleak, and they're all torn apart and disheveled. Numenor was the complete opposite of that. It should have been like incredible to see. And sure, the cinematography, the effects, those things were good because they spent a lot of money on it. But it's whatever. So the end of the story with this Sandy Peterson guy, he's like, I went ahead and crammed the Korean civilization in the last 5 weeks. Now, this is the thing. This is, again, the corporate mindset. They finished everything 5 weeks ahead of schedule. So Microsoft says, give us the Koreans in this pack. And so he goes, okay, now we have to create an entire civilization in 5 weeks. No, Microsoft didn't give us any extra time. We made what was apparently 3 mistakes. We used the wrong art for the turtle ships. We used a legitimate source, but apparently Koreans didn't like that source. We named the Sea of Japan the Sea of Japan. It's called that in every nation except one. Yes. And we said that there was a Japanese invasion of Korea from 1592 to 1598, which for some reason in the year 2000 was controversial. A Microsoft representative in Korea actually got arrested and detained for a while because of that. And in the end, we did not sell 3 million copies of Age of Empires 2 in Korea after all. He says, don't get me wrong, Age of Empires 2 still sold super well, and so did the expansion pack, but StarCraft was impossible to topple from its Korean throne.
I'm gonna let you know right now, if you just did the thing that he wanted that was up top, the thing that he originally wanted, I'm pretty sure the Koreans would have played the game.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like we could do this whole representation thing all day, but I'm gonna tell you it's bullshit. If you just like you can literally put a dragon with 2 lasers on their back shooting ice bolts out of their mouth, and little kids would be like, that's me.
Exactly.
And I'm like, they're over here thinking about race, and I'm just like,
and this is 25 years ago, and again, it's this belief that because one game sold well in Korea, that the only way to get them to play another game was to put those same people into the game themselves, and they completely missed it because StarCraft didn't make money because anybody saw themselves in the game. I didn't buy the Guild Wars games and all the expansion packs and spend 2,000 hours a year playing those games because I saw myself in the game. No, I would make the biggest, like, most badass looking character I possibly could because I wanted to have a cool looking character, not because I identified with the game itself. So,
like, you literally, it's called the Age of Empires, and you also got the word the Conquerors on there. What do you think? We're just going around just opening borders and then kissing everybody and letting them have our daughters?
No, you want to be the badass conquering empire.
We want to conquer their land. We want to take their farm. We want all their stuff. We're over here talking about like representation. Yeah, I know Nerderotic says that.
Oh god, I haven't heard him say that in forever.
but I'm gonna let you know, like, if you this is how you got to look at it from a CEO perspective. You got to realize what sort of talent that they got. You don't have to, this is because the CEO's time is very limited, and you got to be like, okay, what do you got for me? I'll give you like 15 minutes. All right, I got this, and this. And you can tell straight off this Sandy Peterson person is skilled and he knows exactly what to do, especially if they can do something within, how many weeks did you say? 15 weeks?
Well, so they added an entire civilization in 5 weeks. So in 5 weeks.
Bro, you need to hold on to people like that. Are you serious right now? If you follow because there's not many RTS masters out there. There's not many. Because the RTS whole thing has kind of fallen off, and every time when I mention RTS, Zoomers look at me like, "Oh man, are you 48?" I'm not gonna say any cuss words on your channel.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I don't do that for algorithmic purposes. I personally just because I spend so much time like around my kids' baseball teams and stuff. I used to curse all the time. Now it's like it'll slip out every now and then. It's just more of a personal habit thing. That's all.
Cool. I'll just leave the N word out. But
yeah, if I can't say it, you can't say it. That's the rule.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So Sandy Peterson, he's got a lot of stuff going on. He's got books, he's got games. This guy,
is what he's looking at.
This is what he's doing now. This is him. Yeah, he's got.
So it looks like he's got tabletop and
he's got
books.
Tabletop. He's got board games. He's got role playing and fiction. Like, this is the kind of guy that you got to hang on to. This guy obviously has a lot going for him. All right. So let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, kind of get this elephant in the room out of the way here. Metacritic's got it sitting at 81, which is really predictable. I don't know what you were thinking they were all going to think about this game, but for me, 81 is just kind of like right where I thought it would be.
We'll wait. I'll wait until you talk about the. There's one thing that literally shocked me at what all of them said at the same time. But,
the different reviews? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's see. Mari says, Japanese baseball teams, especially kids, get trained not to curse. I wish they would do that in the U.S. because, man, sometimes my kids are like, you don't know what my teammate just said. I'm like, yeah, it's just unfortunately just the nature of how things go. So I want to find, I don't know if the easiest way to find the negative reviews. I know that there's a couple. And of course, a lot of the positive reviews will get into a lot of this where they were all using the same terminology, a return to form, return to form, return to greatness. It's like the same thing we've seen from Dragon Age Veilguard, you know?
I can't believe they brought that back. I how can you be that stupid? Everybody already knows that you said the return to form in Veilguard, and you brought it up again. And it's like when you lie to your dad twice and you messed up once and then you did it again and the belt is coming.
Yeah.
He's like, and it's crazy.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I don't understand. So maybe it's the belief. Maybe it's their belief that there are people within the space. You know, obviously there are people like us who spend time kind of paying attention to the media and how they try to spin the narrative and everything else. But maybe they truly believe still that they have enough of an audience that doesn't watch YouTube, that doesn't watch independent gaming reviews, that doesn't actually pay attention to the discourse outside of the gaming media bubble, that won't catch on to the fact that they're using the exact same terminology over and over and over again.
They're kind of right.
They did the same thing with Avowed. Did they say they returned to form thing with Avowed? Because I remember that was a big thing for Dragon Age Veilguard. That was a huge thing.
They didn't say it for Avowed. They just said the game's okay. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there were a few outlets who tried to push Avowed as if it was like a really great game. Honestly, here's the thing. I can separate, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I can look at games with both halves of my brain. And this is where, unfortunately, I might rub some people the wrong way, because while I don't want a bunch of garbage in my game that I don't necessarily agree with, at the same time, I can look at it and say, 20 years ago, there was a game that might have had a gay romance option in it. Would I have chosen the gay romance option? No. But did it bother me that it existed? No. Exactly. To me, those great games had a little bit of this or that, and I can compartmentalize and say, 20 years ago, this would have been a perfectly fine game. And we've seen examples time and time again. You know, where now all of a sudden, oh my God, now it's problematic because we've seen time and time again the same shit crammed into games over and over and over. So,
and then you get the purity test weirdos that think that everything should be Christian all of a sudden,
right?
And I'm just like, what are y'all doing? That literally, if you're a Christian, you don't do this.
Which it wasn't before. That's the craziest thing. Growing up in Christian schools and church and homeschool and private school and everything else, it's like, first off, nobody talked about video games, but nobody looked at video games. Yeah, nobody looked at video games, comic books, superheroes, or anything else as Christian. Mm-hmm. None of them were. In fact, many of them were opposite of that. Many of them were like, well, you can't do that because it's not Christian. So yeah. I feel like there should be a happy medium. Like, look, John Gibson, who I recently did an article talking about, the guy that got canceled from Tripwire. Now he's back. He's got his own studio. He's partnered with another studio that's making a interactive Bible game. Cool, good for him. I hope it's good. Growing up, knowing what I knew of Christian entertainment, it all sucked. It was terrible. Like Christian movies were god awful back in the day. Yeah. And so I hope it's good, because that'd be really cool. But he's also going to be publishing games that are just good games. It's not going to be pushing a narrative or political opinion or religious ideals. It's just going to be, we're going to first and foremost be an entertainment company. And if it goes too far outside of our ideals, we're probably not going to work with that company. Okay, fair enough. You can work with who you want to. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But this narrative that's been crafted around it is just crazy. It has gotten so extreme, you know?
Yes.
So... That being said,
there's a big issue that I have with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I think you're going to bring it up here in a second. And that is
you go ahead and bring it up.
Well, my biggest concern is I'm a big freedom of speech person.
Sure.
So when somebody says this game sucks, you suck, your team is trash, this game is ass. That dude is black. That lady's gonna get beat down by two sweaty Japanese people. That guy is literally not harassing anybody. He can say whatever the heck he wants. It's fine. There's only two. Basically, what's been going on is they are, for the opening or when the launch comes out for Assassin's Creed Shadows, basically they have some sort of incentive to bring anti-harassment,
Mm-hmm.
lawsuits for the developers, because we're getting their in their fees a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the only people that are messing with the developers psychologically is the developers themselves, and also any sort of employees within there, especially the PR team, the HR team. I bet to you right now, Ubisoft's HR team is the one of the most grotesque HR team ever, because if they were actually good, we wouldn't be hearing any sexual assault going on in Ubisoft
Oh
twice.
yeah, no, Ubisoft
So
themselves are a company full of all sorts of
so
shit.
so I don't really think it's us, because if I was a woman or just a man, if I was a woman and I was working at Ubisoft, and you feel deep down like this game is not enough, and the developers keep on changing the formula of the game, because you have to have a philosophy with every game that you make, and they every 6 months they're like, oh, we're going to change something, and then the
Mm-hmm.
next 6 months, oh, this is literally what's happening in Ubisoft. So this is already mentally messing with you. You also
Right.
got HR that doesn't care who's touching who. So did anybody actually go to jail?
So currently, and I covered this in my video last night, there are still 3 executives who had all sorts of claims against them that have lawsuits currently going on, but nobody is in jail as of right now that I know. And you remember, there's, it's a scummy company, and we can make all sorts of jokes about Canadian and French and everything else, but it's like it's all the same creepy, weird behavior. Like one of these guys made a girl do a handstand, or told her to, and she was wearing a skirt because he knew that her skirt would fly up. All sorts of like weird shit that you don't do in a normal work environment.
So you can touch a woman, but you can't keep the Germans away. Okay, all right, all right.
Yeah, they can't fight against men, but they can harass the shit out of women apparently.
We're gonna
So
save you again, I guess.
yeah. So yeah, so okay. My thing too about that is it's not just that the developers are in their own head. Okay, we're going to compare this at one point to the situation that happened a couple months ago with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and all the controversy and discussions around that game. Because I
Yeah.
think that there's an important discussion to be had here about what constitutes as harassment. Do you remember, other than Daniel Vavra, was there a single person that ever went viral for interacting with any person that was trolling, harassing, whatever you want to call it? Was there a single person besides Daniel Vavra from Warhorse Studio that engaged in any sort of like vitriol online that you can remember?
No, and even Daniel Vavra's was kind of light, but I made a video about it anyway. The two that he had was, one guy was literally a Nazi,
Right, right. The guy
and
was, well, LARPing as, or
I,
literally,
I'm
either way, whatever.
I'm sorry, you can go full Nelson if somebody's literally a Nazi and they're attacking you. You could say whatever you want. Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
But the whole, like, I remember Rev did that whole thing,
right.
and he called him a grifter, and I'm over here just like,
Like, this is
we're,
friendly fire, dude. What are you doing? You know? Yeah.
I thought it was dumb on both sides, because first of all, I'm 38 years old. I don't know what grifter is. I got called a grifter bot because I thought Avowed was mid, but anyway,
I got called a
um,
grifter today because I said that the non-binary character on Assassin's Creed Shadows is retarded, which it
uh,
is. Non-binary in a game from the 1500s that's supposed to be based on history, it
uh,
wasn't a thing. It didn't.
listen, it's never been a thing. Even now, the only people that are non-binary are like 2 seconds away from calling a hotline. So,
Or too ugly to fight. Yeah, okay,
yeah.
like we can.
Okay, all right. Hey guys, hey, it's Mr.
Yeah,
Hardcore.
I'm just gonna like stop myself right there. It's that meme of Lois
last
from Family
podcast,
Guy with
last
the
podcast.
pills, where she's got the ugly people who are not interesting, and then the they them pronoun pills. You know, yeah.
He minimal effort's gonna fucking, he's gonna be like, yeah, we can't bring him over here anymore.
No, are
Like
you
I'm a
kidding? This is
Hassan
more
Piker.
fun than trying to be entertaining by myself. So
No, but for real,
yeah, everyone gets called a grifter. So again, like I said, I got called a grifter today for that, and it's like, no, I truly believe what I'm saying, so I can't by definition be a grifter. But they'll throw that word around like it's nothing. So
Yeah, it's but let's what were we
We were
talking
talking
about?
about Warhorse Studio, Vavra, the
Yeah,
developers, all that.
the this is the biggest thing that I was actually shocked about. Have you ever seen a developer give you critical information on whether or not they want to buy the game before the game comes out?
Not
They
that.
He
Mm-mm.
literally signed, that's what he has to do. Even though he's the writer director, he still
Yeah.
has to sign an NDA on literal spoilers. He literally gave the audience the information before the game comes out, and he said, make your own decisions.
Yeah.
Not if he did that after, then I'd be like, that's kind of weird. But he did it literally a week or a
It
few
was a
days
couple of
before.
weeks beforehand, I want to say. I think it was like
Yeah.
10 plus days.
And he literally just, I think that was kind of cool because he treated us like we were not only human beings, but also adults. And you could figure out if you want to buy a game yourself. I've never seen a developer have the balls to do that ever. And I was just like, I'm definitely buying the game.
The only
After I saw
problem,
that,
the only problem with that was that also fed the trolls, and I wish, and it also gave people
it was going to
spoilers,
do it
minor spoilers.
anyway.
It was gonna do it anyways. That's where he might have just been better off not saying anything. But again, you work 5-6 years on something and watch people just trying to burn it down. I can understand his reaction, but at the same time, it's like, dude should have just separated himself from the internet for a few days. Should have just taken some time off,
Yeah.
gotten out of the internet, touched some grass. But
Yeah. I'm hearing a lot of people. I'm hearing a lot of people say they, especially Andy Pants Gaming, and he's just like, everything in the game sucks, and I'm like, everything, including the gay scene, and I'm like, so everything sucks. Everything sucks. Wow.
That was like
okay.
when Yorch was trying to say that everything about Split Fiction was feminist. He's like, it's the art direction, the dialogue, it's everything. It's like,
and I was just thinking to myself, it's the same thing that Endymion, and I'm gonna call out Endymion. I'm sorry, but I'm able to put certain things inside of a game and be like, okay, this disturbs me, but it's literally out of the way and I could choose not to deal with it. The rest of the game is freaking awesome. But for some odd reason, they'll have 1% of the game that bothers them that's all the way at the end of the game. And then they'll be like Endymion, what Endymion said that literally made me laugh was the fact that he was just like, I'm playing the game and the whole time I'm just thinking about Daniel Vavra in this game and how they treated the gamers, and I'm like,
he
what
was
are you
bitching on
about?
Twitter his entire playthrough of that game. That's something that what happened was, here's what happened. He put out that video, and again, where I put out that tweet about how PlayStation had banned it in Saudi Arabia, which to my knowledge it hasn't changed. He put that in his video. Okay, that's legitimate. But then he also put the tweets from that guy, the investor who was joking and said that he's the reason they made the game gay.
Yeah, that was
and they ran with it as if it was like real, right? Ever since he got exposed in that video, he doubled down because his audience gave him a lot of hell, and he's like, oh, no, now I have to hate on the game. Okay, well, criticize the game if there's legitimate criticism. I have people in my Discord who are Kingdom Come Deliverance super fans that were disappointed with the sequel because of certain aspects of the game.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And I can understand that, but it's like, it's when you play the game, you are focused in, and you immediately forget that one issue. You'll think about it here and there, but don't try to think about it like your wife just cheated on you on your own bed. Okay, don't think about it that way. It's not that deep. But I guarantee you, when you play the game, you're just like, oh yeah, Hans is gay. I've totally forgot. I'm just kidding. But I'm not gonna go too much into the game, but bro, when I romanced the other characters that were romanceable, the females, I romanced Rosa and it was okay, and then I romanced Catherine, and that dress that she was wearing that exposed her tits was a complete lie. Those tits are way bigger when she takes them off. And I was just like, game of the year, 10 out of 10. And
you saw they had a jiggle physics in the mods now, right? You saw that.
Jiggle physics in the mods?
There's a mod. The official Steam store is live for mods for the game.
When she took her shirt off, she had jiggle physics. So
I think it's extra jiggle, but anyways, yeah.
Send me the link real quick.
I'll have to look it up for you later. Combat music voice. Yeah. So World's Worst Gamer. That's what we're gonna get to. This goes beyond. This goes far beyond just the Yasuke issue. This whole thing kind of goes all together. The voice acting alone and the script writing, the dialogue, from what I've seen, is so freaking bad. And I'm sure it's not the entire game. There are people who've said it's only like the first act is bad, the voice acting's bad, but apparently, like, I don't know if you've seen some of these clips, right? Oh crap, we lost his feed. Oh no. Let me see if I can get him back in here.
Take your time.
I got you, dude. I don't know where he went. All right, you're still there. Perfect. You can hear me, right?
Want to see me disappear? Want to see me do it again?
So yeah, this voice acting. Let me know if you can't hear this. I don't know if I can do anything on my end.
This is the one.
This one's so bad.
If this is the one, I can't believe this is in the game and this is real. And somebody said the story's great or the dialogue's great. There is no.
So let me do this real quick since I don't want to have to like search on this tab here. Oh no, you're fine. While we're talking about that, because this isn't something that I actually had brought up on the tabs over here. The entire situation kind of boils down to the lead writer on the game. Now, I remember hearing about her. I guess she's somebody that follows Sweet Baby Inc. Because again, Sweet Baby Inc. and Ubisoft are tied at the hip, right?
Is it the Asian bitch or the fat bitch?
No, it's Alyssa Ralph. The Asian gal is the one that was their consultant on like the Man Boy Love with the monks.
Yeah, that one.
This is Alyssa Ralph. Oh my god, it just says LinkedIn not found. What?
They
Wait.
Must take your time, man. I'll just rant. They must have kicked out that Japanese woman out of Japan, and they said, "You cannot be here." It's like, but I'm Japanese, and then he's like, "You itty bitty titty committee, you go now,
dude." Dude, her LinkedIn was here earlier today.
Oh, she trying to leave. She ghosted.
The lead scriptwriter nuked her entire freaking account. No way.
I feel like we're what is this, Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh my god. Dude. Okay, so let me give you.
When was the last time you saw it?
Earlier today. I was talking with somebody who follows me here on YouTube about it. We were talking in DMs on Twitter because he was sending me some information. I was kind of like talking back and forth with him about it today. So I went and checked out her LinkedIn, and she actually volunteers at the DICE Awards, which is another one of these game show award shows or whatever that does a lot. They tend to like give awards to like the really woke games, if you want to call them woke or whatever, you know. DICE Awards.
Game with impact bullshit.
Yeah, that kind of shit. So that's just kind of how they roll. And so she had credits for writing, I believe, on Odyssey and that Immortals Phoenix Rising game, which looked like Fortnite had a baby with like Greek mythology. And her other credits were like she was a volunteer for 5 years at like the DICE Awards or whatever. And so I was looking at her LinkedIn, and she's 26 years old. I'm like, this is like her only job for the last 5 years has been writing video game scripts, right?
Okay.
That's insane. Wow.
That's pretty crazy. That she's more of an assassin than these two motherfuckers. she out here like just disappearing. She leaves no trace.
Assassinated her on LinkedIn.
She said, little boys kissing little boys, and then she just threw a smoke bomb at the ground, and then she zipped away.
I wonder if that's that gal. I wonder if she's still got a social media presence. That Sashi Hori chick, the one that wrote that book about the Japanese man boy love stuff.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I can't believe that was a bit of information we needed.
Well, there you go, guys. The lead scriptwriter for Assassin's Creed Shadows has nuked her LinkedIn. There's some breaking news for you. All right.
If she did anybody else?
I'll have to check later. I don't know. That's pretty interesting though. All right. So I don't know if you can hear the audio. 40K Empress had issues hearing audio on her end. So if you've already seen this, you kind of know how it goes. This is so bad.
This is like cringe. Like, I can't hear it, but I know exactly what they're saying.
All
They're
right.
saying,
This moment we have shared.
you big man BBC, long time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying that game.
Oh man, so here's my thing about this.
The thing is, why did you zoom up at their eyes and you thought that was cool? Like, nobody gets their ass whooped at home by their fathers anymore. It's like it's so crazy. It's not even like about the gay scene anymore. It's the fact that you have zero dialogue that I've heard that was anything that was impactful. The camera shots are weird, like you were pushed in a locker weird.
I saw a meme that actually follows this exact same line of sight, like it's a couple kissing, and then it shows from their eye perspective, and they're like all zoomed in like that. It's a meme.
Yeah.
Hey, Blu-ray, we were just talking about you, dude. The lead script writer for Assassin's Creed Shadows nuked her LinkedIn, dude. Remember we were talking about that earlier today? Yeah, she nuked it. So,
I think I saw two people kissing with their eyes open, and I'm like, stop that, please.
So, dude, here's the thing about it, okay? Sure, you can say, okay, it's gay, it's gross, fine. I'm on that side of the fence where I'm like, I don't want to see two dudes kissing. Whatever, it's optional, fine. I still don't want to see two dudes kissing.
I'm looking at as like, if you're gonna do this for the gays, can you at least like treat them like they're fully grown adults and give them a good experience? The same thing with Henry and Hans. If you're gonna put this in here, can you treat them like with the proper respect, the same way people with straight relations can do? And then I saw that and I was like, oh, you guys just don't care.
Right, and that's the thing. They don't know how to do it authentically. First off, it's really hard to do because this is a 16th century Japan, and you're trying to show, masculine, macho samurai warriors and try to make them gay somehow. So obviously it's going to be tough to try to spin it in a modern lens where you're going to have, again, the shipper mentality type people who want to see that. But it's like, this is what you get instead. You get pure, unadulterated cringe. And it's like... Yeah. I might look at it and say, I don't want to see two gay people kissing, whatever. But you're right. Like, is there no better way to portray it than this? At the most base level, this is pure, like, nauseating cringe.
It's the same thing that I said about Henry and Hans, because I literally suffered through watching the whole relationship between Henry and Hans. The developers said that they were going to treat it authentically and treat it like it's a forbidden thing. They did not.
Right.
Just like this game, just like this thing, they did not treat it like it was authentic. They are in the middle of the fucking street, staring at each other, two men, and then I think there's a lady right behind them walking around like selling cabbages or something, and nobody's saying like, oh, rainbow flag, seppuku des. And I'm just like, nobody cares. And you have to treat it authentically. Like, go into a room. This is what I firmly believe. You want to put like a gay romance in there where it's authentic and the people straight out, what's the word I'm looking for? It's straight up forbidden.
Right.
They'll hang
taboo.
you by the noose.
Taboo, yeah.
So, taboo. Like, they'll ring you up and stuff like that. So this is what you do. You have the relationship, you have the build up, and you guys are not sure on how you feel because you're afraid that you guys will get killed. So you guys finally come together and you go inside a tent, you do your thing, you please say something that's meaningful and give them the sense of like, hey, we can only do this once. This world is cruel. We can only do this once.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love you. Kiss. Do your thing. Please don't. Even though I'm not gay, do not do this fade to black bullshit.
Right.
It's so lazy. Do the deed. If you want to see that, go ahead. I don't want to see it. And then when the romance is at its peak, what you do is you have so many different choices at the end of this. You can have that one person that you romanced literally ignore you and treat you like a peasant, which I wish Hans Capone did, where he's just like, that never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a peasant. I'm a nobleman. We never had that sort of, because they don't want to get in trouble and they don't want you in trouble because they like you. So they distance you away, Or somebody saw you in the act, and when you wake up or when you go to the city, like that character is like hung, and it
Well, that's what I'm
gives you
saying. So,
that.
like that
It gives you
romance
that
option should have
impact.
ended in like public execution or something. Like have it have like significant consequence.
I don't care if you're straight or gay and you like those sort of romances. I know you like those romances, people, but I know what you like more than romance. Drama.
Yeah.
You love drama. And you can do this whole, oh shoot, they're kissing. But if you don't have they will eat drama up. It's like pancakes with butter and blueberries on top. They love that. And when you treat your audience like they're grown adults, that's cool. And that gives people who like that sort of gay romance, they'll be like, oh, that's so crazy. That's how they did it back then. And that's so sad. I'm so glad I'm here in America and I can, date whoever I want. That way they appreciate my fucking country a little bit more.
Right.
So
right.
It's just.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff in the chat about how this isn't even how they would have engaged in relationships in Japan back at this time, how women aren't physically like initiating the romance. This isn't the act of kissing is not a thing in feudal Japan. Yeah, I mean that's before we move on, honestly, I think your take on the entire Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 thing is 100% spot on, because I didn't watch the romance scene. I didn't watch. I tried to distance myself from as many of the cutscenes as possible because I don't want to ruin as much of the game as I possibly could. Right.
Yeah. I waited until I finished the game and then I saw it and I was just like, I need a beer.
You saw it and then you regretted it. No,
Yeah.
but even though I'm not going to choose that romance option, I'm still like, okay, I don't want to watch it regardless. It's like I covered enough of this. I had to write articles on this. I did videos on this. I spent a lot of hours like frustrated with all the discourse around the game. It's like I've already exposed my brain to so much about this game that I was just looking forward to and I was excited to play, that now it's already ruined so much of the excitement for me. I don't need to expose myself to that also. And so I didn't have a comparison between what we were getting from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and this. And this, on the flip side of it being less graphic, is just cringe. I'm going to do the scene now.
And I see a little bit
here.
of, like, even though I dislike the game, I see a little bit of nuggets of good stuff into the game. Like,
Sure.
the executions are freaking cool. Like, people will, like, I'll be honest, I don't care about a black guy killing Japanese people.
Right.
I don't know why people are bringing that stuff up. Whatever, but the executions are cool. I think the parkour with Naue is pretty cool. This
looks so bad.
The graphics look nice, and I think the cutting, when you cut with the blade, it's really, really accurate. You could actually cut a basket in half. I thought that was really cool, but that's it.
Right.
That's all I like.
Well, again, the physics, I guess a lot of the cutting through, like you said, grass and everything else, that the physics are really good. So I'm torn on the black protagonist in Japan thing. So from the way I'm looking at it, you have the outsider who's depicted as the quote-unquote savior of Japan. It's not a Japanese man. It's this guy who's hulking. I think it's just the sheer fact that he is hulking over the top of everybody else, and they upped the brutality level. If you look at this game compared to the other Assassin's Creed games, they've increased the brutality level to a point where it's like, it doesn't bother me. I like games where you can have all sorts of gore. That's whatever.
Oh yeah, Space Marines too, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, but for me personally, I kind of get the perception, especially among Japanese people, of, okay, this guy wasn't this important. He isn't one of our people. And here you depict him completely brutalizing Japanese people. Now, I get it. It's a video game and all that stuff too. Mm-hmm. But in situations like where they had stepped in it with things like the Shinto shrine and stuff, which those things have significant meaning to Japanese culture and people, you just turn it off, make it non-destructible. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. It's like games like Black Myth Wukong. Yeah. Which again,
didn't they add an update about that?
They had to do a day one patch, because again, Japan, looking at it culturally from like where they currently are with a lot of tourism and stuff, where people are not respecting anything, I get where they're coming from, where it's like, okay, we already have tourists coming here and not respecting any of our stuff. And over here in the United States, it's tough because other than national monuments, we don't really have any sacred cows over here.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really have any of that. And it's
I think the one thing that made them really fuck up was the fact that they were like so based on a true events or true story thing.
oh, for
I
sure.
think if they just said, "Oh, well, this is just a fantasy," like take for instance, did you see that trailer where they're mixing up Japan with America, and it's literally a silly trailer of something? It was like straight out of a JoJo Bizarre Adventure, and literally it's making fun of Western culture and Japanese culture at the same time. Everybody unanimously was
Right.
like, "Oh, this looks fun." You know,
You're
it's a
talking
little
about the
fun.
trailer from Brazil, right? From the Assassin's Creed Brazil account that they shared, where it's like a Mortal Kombat looking 80s, 90s like action show, or
It's like it was singing like a Japanese song, and it was God. It's. I remember this one guy riding a horse with a very long neck. It's a trailer that's really. Somebody in chat will remember it,
okay.
but it's not coming out. But it looks like the same people that made Atomic Heart made this game, but it's all around city. It's silly. It's kind of like Yakuza with the pirate game. Like
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, gotcha.
obviously you get that silly stuff, but everybody knows, oh, we're just having a good time. But when you say up in front like, oh, this is based on true events, we're trying to, we're this is who we are with Ubisoft, kind of like with Ghost of Tsushima. They did their best with like, hey, this is based on true events, but some places are not gonna be, some places are real, some places are not real. Like even Jin Sakai is not even real.
So
So
comparing this to the because again, historical representation, historical accuracy versus inspired by, I think this is a good again comparison straight across the board to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Even though Assassin's Creed years ago didn't start off as an RPG, both
mhm,
games exist now in the RPG side of things. So
yeah,
a game like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Henry is not historical, at least not in the way that he's
yeah,
portrayed in the game. Okay, so
yeah.
there you go. Same with Hans. He's a fill-in for a historical character. So the shock wasn't the fact that they took Henry, a historical character, and made him gay. It was the fact that it was, wait a second, he was straight in the first game and now he's gay for his buddy.
Yeah,
In
I can
this
understand
game,
that.
it's like we're taking historical characters like Yasuke, who we know very little about, and now he's bisexual.
Mhm.
Now she's a made up character, so whatever. The scene is just cringe, but it's like she's not a real character, so who cares? Um, you have the whole non-binary person. That's we'll get into that in a second.
I need to hear the character say non-binary. I saw
So
somebody write it was non-binary. I need to hear the literal character say it, and then I'll be like, Ubisoft, you're done. I mean, they're already done already, but
right. Somebody was saying that Fenrir the Ice Wolf, he had a comment, says, I really hate how romance is written in mainstream nowadays because this stuff, writing like this isn't love, this isn't romance, it's just full on lust and nothing more because most writers today can't seem to see the difference between the two.
you want to know my favorite top 5 or top 10 romances?
Go for
You
it.
remember Mass Effect?
I'm gonna once again out myself as a fake gamer. I didn't play Mass Effect.
That's fine. Uh,
But I know enough about it. I
there's
know the names.
the look up Mass Effect 2
Mhm.
and look up it's a green alien.
Yeah, I
His
know the
name
alien.
is I forgot his name. It starts with the T. He's an assassin. I forgot his name.
Somebody in chat will know. I've got a
Oh,
few
I
people who love
forgot.
Mass Effect.
Oh, God.
Mariners hat. Hey, go Mariners. They suck, but it's okay.
I'll look it up. No, I want to talk about this. Thane Krios. Thane Krios. He is a green alien, and you can romance this person. And here's the thing: Thane Krios is dying. This is the spoiler alert. Thane Krios is dying, and there's a whole story about him trying to find his son and trying to have a bond back with his son. But at the same time, you're having a romance with Thane, who is going to pass away pretty much, you know, later on, but he doesn't die in the game unless
Sure.
you make a certain decision. But you have this sort of impactful sort of romance with a person you're not going to be with for a very long time. Kind of like with Karlach in Baldur's Gate 3. And the way they did it was so authentic and so real, where it's just like people love this character. His abilities are trash, but he's cool.
Right. Well, again, that's just about good storytelling. Hey, NS buddy, how's it going? The game is called Showa American Story, the one that you were talking about.
Thank you. That's what it is.
Thank you, Curtis.
So
appreciate
ridiculous.
it. Yeah, no, so it's just one of those things that it's like, it's just a lack of skilled writing. It's a lack of character development. And so you can sit through weird off-the-wall relationships in games and media if they're done well. So, I mean, again, the entire idea that if something has a gay character, it's woke, I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Because first off, without the gay son in Braveheart, the story wouldn't have been the story that it was, right? Without the gay neighbor on a movie like As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson and Greg Kinnear is fantastic as the gay neighbor in that movie. And it makes
without Thane Kriya, Istvan Toth, who's gay with Eric, you wouldn't be going around trying to get your sword back from Istvan. That's Henry's whole story.
Yeah. So that's not to say that you can't have great, compelling stories without gay people. Of course you can. There have been thousands of them. But absolutely. I think what matters more than anything else is being able to make characters that are, believable, that are deep, and not just surface level like the crap that we're seeing come out of like this crap here with the non-binary. The looks on. I want to know who was responsible for animating like Yasuke's face, because the looks
that
are
shot where my sorry, about to say the N-word. My brother from another mother looking at the screen doing a fourth wall, and I'm like, bruh, you did that on purpose. What the hell was that?
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to show me, but go ahead and show me.
No, when I saw these.
Oh, by the way, the guy literally, watch, he's touching his
I know.
junk.
Okay, yeah. So he gasps right here. Legit, he gasps right, like in 2 seconds here. Yeah.
Like no reaction on his face. He just raises his chin like he's like, say it loud. I'm gay and I'm proud.
Let me ask you something. Like, isn't he kind of has like the comically like Giga Chad face, like Jawbones?
How come he wasn't smiling like this with the Japanese woman, man?
No, he's got this this unidentifiable man-woman looking thing in front of him, and this is his kink apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't shippers. I mean, it's for the shippers. It's
for the shippers.
Okay, and you can argue, okay, RPG, you can have gay romances, fine. It's not even about that. It's about the fact that they have to create this. It's like having the fat female sumo character. It's like having the non-bind. It's things that didn't even exist at the time. Things that wouldn't have been there.
That was by far the most I hate Japan moment I've ever seen. Like, right. I don't care about. That was the most anti-Japanese I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Did I say American?
No, you said Japanese. You said it.
I said, okay, gotcha.
I heard Japanese. If you said American, I'm retarded. So
that was so anti. I don't care about you, Japan. We're gonna do something that's inclusive. I saw that and I was just like, you're mean. You're mean for that one. You want to know the funny thing about this whole thing is, if we just took all of this in Africa, for some odd reason, everything like, well, no, sorry. I think they're too little lost in the sauce. But when it comes to like film and video games, they like to twist things. If it's like placed in England for some odd reason, there's like a black character that's the queen of England. Crazy stuff that you're like, what the heck? Why is he here? But for some odd reason, when it comes to like doing Africa or making something related to Muslim or something like that, this is pertaining to video games and film. All of a sudden, they got all the races correct. They got like the dialogue correct and everything. And I'm just like, He's like, oh yeah, there were no white people here. Oh, now since we're doing,
I was having this thought earlier. Actually, it's funny. I'm glad you bring that up because I was having this thought earlier because I haven't played the original Assassin's Creed, the very first few Assassin's Creed games with Altair since, God, years ago. I'm talking like it's probably been like a decade or more since I've played those, right? And okay, so they weren't RPGs. I don't remember any romance options in the first few Assassin's Creed games. They were just linear storytelling games. Sure, they had like you could explore a few extra things, you could collect a few extra flags or whatever, but that was it.
right?
Can you imagine if they tried to remaster the original games? Do you think for a minute that they would give Altair a gay romance option?
They're taking stuff away and they're replacing things. Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
There's no way, though, in my opinion, that they make Altair have a gay option. There's no way. As a Muslim man, not happening.
Yeah. I've seen the dialogue for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and once you're done with the dialogue in Assassin's Creed Shadows, I want to show you something that's in Assassin's Creed 3. I'll send you a link.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite lines by Connor in Assassin's Creed 3. I'll send it to you right now, but yeah, it's one of the coldest badass lines, and at this day and age, you have to follow writers and you need to follow certain game developers. This is no longer Ubisoft. I'm sorry, but they dirtied the water. They basically they muddied the water. So they poisoned the water hole. So now you have to find those people that got fired. They didn't get laid off, they got fired. You need to find them and then go with them. Like I'm checking out Exodus, and those are the people that did the old school BioWare
right
stuff.
I'm hearing a lot of people concerned about Exodus. I think mainly it's just about the fact that they have like the strong girl boss with the haircut and stuff, but
it's because of Wizard of the Coast. Wizard of the Coast, nobody trusts Wizard of the Coast.
Exactly.
But,
so let's see what this is here. Do I have it muted? No, there we go.
Hello, Connor.
I won't be able to hear, but yeah.
We got to figure out the audio thing. I'm not sure why it does that.
They march for New York.
I think it's because you're
very well.
That second screen that you have. You need to change it to default or a different
potentially. Yeah. Thing. We'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
Would you like to know what it says, Connor? It seems your good friend here has just ordered an attack on your village. Although attack might be putting it mildly. Well, tell him, Commander.
We've been receiving reports of Allied natives working with the British. I've asked my men to put a stop to it.
By burning their villages and salting the land, by calling for their extermination, according to this letter. Not the first time either. Tell them what you did 14
That's
years
George
ago.
Washington and his father right there.
7 years war.
And so now you see what happens to this great man when under duress. He makes excuses, displaces blame, does a great many things, in fact.
I like this line.
Enough! Who did what and why must wait. My people come first.
Then let's be off.
No. You and I are finished.
Son.
Do you think me so soft that by calling me son, I might change my mind?
Yeah, I forgot how good this game
How long
was.
did you sit on this information, or am I to believe you discovered it now? My mother's blood may stain another's hands, but Charles Lee is no less a monster, and all he does by your command. A warning to you both. Choose to follow me or oppose.
I was like, you said that to George Washington. I was like, bruh.
That's good.
I'm a man, but okay.
I don't remember that, but yeah, that's good.
But it's those that type of dialogue that like.
Well, it has weight. It has meaning. It has depth.
It takes that's what video games are. It's escapism. So when you put a non-binary character and a fat sumo bitch in the game, people are going to be like, "Oh, it's 2025 again." That's what you do. You lose. That's a good way to lose money. And if they want to keep going this route, I'm going to tell you right now, keep going. Keep going.
Let's check in and see how many people are currently playing it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because
what?
At this point, The game came out, right?
It's out. Dude, it plateaued.
Yeah, I think it was at 5,000 before it came out. 5,000, something like that. Current players.
Yeah, concurrent players. So the peak so far was 25,863. It's lost 100.
It lost 100?
It lost. Okay, so here's the thing. You're not going to have the support of countries like China, a lot of Eastern countries playing this, like you have with like Marvel Rivals and Black Myth Wukong, Monster Hunter Wilds, all that kind of stuff, right? Doesn't have the international appeal that they were going for, probably.
Uh-huh.
But what I find really, and this is going to change as we get into the weekend, what I find really hilarious is there should be enough people. I'm looking at this going, if tonight's Wednesday night, we're going to have 2 more days before the official weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The game is going to probably hit 100,000 easily before it peaks over the weekend. But how many above that? Because I kind of, the way I kind of guess and I look at it, if the game has 100,000 concurrent people playing it, it probably has 1 million people playing or that bought a copy of it. I just kind of times 10 for consoles and Steam. That's just in my own head. That's just kind of the way I look at it.
This number is supposed to go up. Why did it slope down? Maybe that's nothing.
It plateaued. I will see if this maybe it's just a temporary lull.
People
I don't
go
know.
to sleep. I'm just gonna say people go to sleep.
Oh sure,
like
yeah.
I think 2 days is correct, and I'm just looking at because I saw Co-Carnage. Co-Carnage and me are at the same wavelength, even though I am a little bit more harsh than he is.
Mm-hmm.
But he played the game and he was like, "This might be my last live stream of the game." And I'm like, if he says that, good lord, because I see people put paragraph of the game, and I'm just like, and they're just like, it's like, oh man, they got everything's great. This is great. This is great. This is great. And I'm just like, okay, I just want to see what he says about dialogue or story. Best Assassin's Creed story. And I was like, get the fuck out.
Oh, let's see. Blu-ray just sent me a link. Let me see if it's one that I already have. I think I already have this.
I'm getting a drink.
You're good. Blu-ray, I think I've already got this brought up here, but let me go ahead and bring up the link so he can watch it when he gets back. Their sexual lawsuit would cost more than this. Dude, honestly,
who said that?
That was Mari, our resident Japanese girl, and Japanese cultural expert. She actually attended a Shinto shrine in Japan for a while.
I want to be ninja.
I can't. I'm too white, too Irish, too Italian to be a ninja. Not too short though. I'm the right size for a ninja. Just not the right demographic. All right, I'm not going to bring up my entire Twitter DMs and dox people. Let me just grab one of these that I'm done with and bring it up.
Oh, yeah.
One of these days, I will get Twitter logged back in on Chrome, but I like using Brave. I prefer Brave over Chrome.
I've been thinking about going to Brave. How is it?
The search function is ass. You're still going to find yourself using Google for searching for things. But as far as everything else, Brave is awesome. It blocks ads. It's super fast. It doesn't have any of the sluggishness that Chrome has. But when it comes to searching, yeah, you're going to be searching on Google still. Chrome or Brave's search function is garbage. All right, here we go.
I need to move because they banned Pornhub over here, and I'm mad. Or I'll just get a VPN or something.
There's other sites, man. Come on.
I know, but if you're looking for a particular... Anyway, let's talk about the...
I don't think there's any gooning involved here, so... There's a Christian Cross, which knows me, he isn't that Christian. Well, again, they're just trying to be like correct, basically like in the representation of the character, even though it's completely not even based in reality. So this is reminding me from what I've seen of this clip, because I saw somebody share it on Twitter. We're getting like Star Wars Outlaws vibes when it comes to the stealth. I remember watching Asmongold, and he hid in a bush and they just couldn't see him. Like, she's sitting right there.
Well, I'm looking at this and she's not in a bush. Is that correct?
She's just chilling right in front of them. Like, as long as she crouches down, this one's comical as hell.
Oh, she's fucking breakdancing.
Yeah,
but look, some breakdancing
she goes right around the front of the wagon, and they lose sight of her.
Your path ends now.
And as soon as she touched his knee, and it's like, okay, we found you.
I lost sight.
And here's another thing that I don't like about the gameplay. Every time, well, most of the attacks, if they're not wearing armor, every attack that you do, they will get stunned. Every attack.
Dude, okay, so there's a couple things about the game. There's canon mode, which completely erases the need for it to be an RPG. And I think that's the laziest shit on the planet. It's like, oh, well, if you want to play the game for the best possible outcome, stick to canon mode and then none of your decisions matter, right?
Yeah,
but apparently there's an insta-kill mode that you can turn on in the toggles, so every assassination is a guaranteed kill, even like the harder enemies that you would have to finish off in a fight.
You know what that is, right? It's literally the developers not knowing, not trusting themselves or trusting their audience to, to respect what your philosophy of your game is. So, like we've always said, a game for everyone is a game for no one.
Absolutely.
So if you do this whole toggling, your decisions matter. Oh, now your decisions don't matter. Did she just
wait? I gotta see that again.
She just touched his ball sack and got found for 2 seconds and then left.
Dude, she's throwing knives into this guy's face and he's not even reacting.
I need to see them save the game, get out of the game, get back in the game, and I want to see if that's a thing. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, I can't believe you have this in the game.
That can't. Oh my god.
That's the one. Every Assassin's Creed knows that your
that's what this clip was.
Stealth stuff, right. Stealth and parkour are literally the pinnacle of what Assassin's Creed is. If you can't get those right, you don't have an Assassin's Creed game.
Absolutely insane. Like,
that
holy
is
crap.
Crazy.
Here's your $70 Assassin's Stealth game, 100% journo mode.
How much is the game, by the way?
Base game is $70. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the collector's edition that has, of course, the stuff that they stole from the reenactment group and everything else in it is 130 or more. There was a game that was coming out here. Maybe it's this one that was going to have like a $230 collector's mode or a collector's edition. I think it might be Assassin's Creed Shadows.
The reason people aren't playing Assassin's Creed Shadows is because they got Ubisoft has a track record. If you made a pirate game that you called a quadruple A game, and now you're not supporting that quadruple A game, people are going to look at you funny. So now when you bring this game out and you say, "Oh man, this game is $200," people are going to look at you funny.
Exactly.
Like last time I came inside this restaurant, you spit in my sandwich. You think I'm going to come back, get another sandwich from you guys, and you're going to up the price?
No, that's the craziest thing too, because again, talking about Skull and Bones, I started covering like just video games, straight up video games on this channel, and kind of split my politics and news stuff to my second channel around the time that Skull and Bones was the thing. And I remember making videos and talking about it at the time. Actually, one of the first articles I wrote for John Delarose and Fandom Pulse was about Skull and Bones. And it was like, wow, this is crazy. This game is just dying. Nobody knows they won't admit how many players are playing it. They can't even get people to play the first, because it was like 8 hours of free demo time that you could play the game for, and nobody even wanted to play it. And then I guess it came out last year that the game cost upwards of $400 to $600 million.
Right.
For what? It's like absolutely insane. Its cost is your false information on the price of the game. Its cost is your sanity.
Yeah, exactly.
Only 51,000 viewers on Twitch.
I think you'll also notice the animation with the characters and the cutscenes are way too stationary.
They're very stale. I was talking about this scene with with Naue and the other girl like making out, and it was like watching two mannequins. I'll play it again in the background. It's like legit. Like once they are actually interacting with each other, the facial expressions are kind. I don't like Naue's face. This other girl looks fine, but
looks all Asians look alike. What is going on here? It's looking
seriously. The movement of their hands, and it's like this just looks.
It's like what the hell are you doing on top of her?
It just looks stiff.
It looks like it's like looking at two washcloths that you don't touch inside a bathroom because it's just for looks, just rubbing up on each other. And it looks awkward. She's holding her head like, who did you hire for this?
Exactly.
if you're gonna go full on gay, then make it look. If ignore everything on the game and make the gay scene look awesome.
But
Take
they're
off-
not gonna do that because they don't want to appeal to the gooners. Come on, you know this.
It's like it's a certain level of goal posting that I don't fucking like, because I know every single one of them are fucking like they're gooners themselves.
Oh,
So I don't know why they're doing.
But they're only okay. You remember all the discourse around Hades 2, right? It's the safe, horny stuff. You got the fat
Rules
god
for
in the
thee and
wheelchair.
not for
Yeah,
me.
they got the fat god in the wheelchair, the muscle mommies, the femme boys. They're okay with all of that. They'll goon out to any of that kind of stuff. But they will not allow for conventional, attractive gooning of any kind.
I'm telling you, if I work at Ubisoft and I'm a manager, and one of my employees walks into my fucking studio with a furry tail, and I don't know where the end of that tail is, I'm throwing a brick at you. You're fired.
in Minecraft.
He's like, we're not gonna appeal to the gooners, and I'm like, all right, Stephanie. All right, listen. This is the third tale you brought to work. Okay, you're over here talking about we're not gonna appeal to the perverts. All right, I've seen your browser history. You're using the company computer. And
Well,
I've seen your browser.
It's that meme of don't lecture me because I've seen what you cheer for or whatever. You know, it's yeah. I'm gonna grab a bottle of water. I'll be right back.
Okay. This is my channel now. Minimal effort is now black. Hold on, I need a hat. I don't have a hat. This is all I got. Well, boys, we're going to war now.
Damn it! I left for 10 seconds and you got me banned.
What?
I'm just kidding. All right, so this one here was interesting. I don't know what your thoughts are on this one. Apparently, there was a scene where Yasuke can bang Oda Nobunaga's sister. And again, this goes back into the historical accuracy side of things,
I would have
right?
done it.
Well, sure, but that's not the point. The point is his sister Oichi, I think is how her name is pronounced, was again a real person, had several marriages, had significant impact in Japan.
I heard she was very loyal.
Very loyal and supposedly very beautiful. Very beautiful is what I heard.
Why does she look like Naoe?
This chick looks worse than Naoe. I'm not even kidding.
She does.
I mean, if you see the face straight on, it is just not appealing.
Yeah, she looks like she's like, you want pork fried rice, $9?
I mean, not even kidding. She just looks so bland and generic.
It's like if Utari Hikaru had no Riz.
Right.
If that's from Kingdom Hearts, if you ever know, famous singer. Utari Hikaru, beautiful Japanese woman. This is Utari Hikaru from Wish.com, or is it Temu?
Temu.
I don't know. I don't know anymore. Who gives a fuck? But I saw her.
My kids would say Temu.
But basically, wasn't there a other game that had like the same character and she was beautiful?
Probably. But again, you're talking about the difference now between Western and Eastern developers, and it just doesn't. I don't understand, other than it being like, again, we've talked about like the Marxist idea of we have to destroy femininity and destroy the genders and all this other stuff, which I truly believe could be happening on some level. It's like, if that's not the reason, then what is? Why do all these female characters? And I saw you talked on your channel on one of your hard rants about the Unreal Engine thing, where you have to work extra hard to make a pretty feminine female, right?
Yeah.
So if it's not intentional, then it's pure retardation on their part, where they just can't figure their shit out. So,
like I said, since they're losing stock, they're going to have to lay off people, but they also have to hire people, or they have to get people that are like freelancers, and these people only know how to use the Unreal Engine, albeit not very good.
right.
And is this using the Unreal Engine? I don't think it is.
Anybody in chat? No, I'm not sure what Ubisoft is using. I'm assuming Unreal at this point.
But
Everyone's switching
basically,
over.
it's by a bunch of people that are unskilled.
Well,
And
they said 50% of the crew working on this game, right, is like it's their first AAA game.
first trip. Ooh.
That's at least what I've heard down the pipeline from other people talking about it, from reports that I've read online, is that most or a significant portion, if not half, the people working on this game, it's like their first AAA game. They use their own engine.
And this is not even the fault of developers. I think Guillemot needs to recognize, because they have only one option, Tencent.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Tencent, Synth Potato, what he said, I was just like, I just completely disagree. But I'll talk about that in a minute.
Synth is a bit of a shill, in case you haven't noticed. Yeah.
I thought what he said about KCD was on point.
Right.
But when he said by far the best, the best edition, I'm just like, all right, if that's what you think. But the thing that really bothers me with this whole thing with Ubisoft is, like, they're spending more money than they already have. They're literally using money to do a whole anti-harassment campaign. You know how much money that is?
Well, I mean, that's alleged, and I have some thoughts on that too, because if you recall, you remember a couple of weeks ago, some copies of the game were out there in the wild, and people were saying how amazing it was and how it was a completely polished, perfect game. Guys, I put his link back in the comments if you guys want to go follow Mr. Hardcore Mode. So I think there's a certain amount of this where they are intentionally leaking information to try to just scare people. Like, they don't truly want...
You think they lied? That's actually... I never thought about that.
I think it's they're trying to play 4D chess. I think that they are putting this information out there to try and get people to not criticize the game, to think the game is, oh, this is going to be great, it's going to be amazing. Look, these leaked copies out in the wild without a day one patch.
I'm going to say it. They got my ass, because I'm over here like, that's the most Ubisoft thing to ever Ubisoft. And I'm like, I 100% think they're going to do it. But for them to, pull an okie doke, like, oh, wow. I firmly think that they shouldn't have said anything and add to the problem, where I feel like they're adding kindling to the fire that is burning their tents down. And I'm just like, what you need to do is, what's the word for taking, like, if you have a big team but you need to shorten the amount of team because you don't have much money.
Sure, yeah.
Is it subsidize or
subsidize
condense?
Works. You trim the fat, you condense it down. That's any of those words work.
Because we've seen the stock, and you need to look at because Outlaws didn't do great, even though everybody, Access Media was like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, all right, but this is the reason why, if Tencent bought Ubisoft, Guillemot is not coming.
No.
Because he's the main issue. You're the top big dog, and you're the main problem. You keep on going to investors and shareholders and just saying everything's fine. And investors will believe you because they're stupid.
The problem with Yves Guillemot is he is completely narcissistic. So everything is about him and his family and his legacy. So
didn't you hear that thing where he was just like, "Hey, you can fire all these motherfuckers, but can we stay? Can we stay?" He's like, "I'll kiss your toes. Can we stay?" And I'm like, "Wow."
So the thing is, this is where they're saying that there's reports now where they're trying to create a separate company to license their IPs to, and that company would be the thing that Tencent would then buy and gobble up, because he's desperately trying to preserve his legacy, because even though he wants Tencent's money, he doesn't want to give Tencent the control. So it's basically like, give me your money, but don't tell me what to do.
They're goalposting again.
Yeah. So... anyways, this guy's Synth Potato, like you said, sure. I mean, it was easy to agree with his takes on most of the discourse around Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, because that was a situation where he could kind of like shit on the anti-wokers. And a lot of times these accounts that are more shills are going to be more pro big company, anti other YouTubers, right? Because they don't like the discourse around games. They want to keep getting the access to the games and everything else by praising everything.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the nature of the beast. It's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's the way it goes.
But yeah, this is the thing about canon mode. He says, Assassin's Creed Shadows has an option when you start a new game called canon mode, which removes the ability to make story-altering choices, instead showing the canon events. Now, I have this issue with this idea. If we're going to treat these games as RPGs, obviously, I thought about this for a while before we got on the stream here. a game like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, they all have different endings, right? So you have the
Actually, you bring up a good point with Elden Ring. Let's not talk about the different endings of Elden Ring. Let's just add easy, normal, and hard mode of Elden Ring, because you bring up a good point with Elden Ring, not with the ending, but with the difficulty, because it's on the same avenue. If you take away the ability for people to be like, hey, this game's hard like the other games. I know, but when you beat the boss, it feels great. But when you do, if you want to play a game that has easy, normal, hard, that's great. This is not the game for you.
right.
But when you play the game and you want to play the game because you think it looks cool, and you're fighting Margot, the Fell Omen, 50 times, and you're like upset because you bought this game and you want to return it, but you finally beat him, and that feeling cascades through the whole game. The whole game. That moment is yours, and that's the reason why we buy games. I could talk about challenge, but I know people like, easier games. That's fine.
Sure.
But this game is basically, Elden Ring is to give you that feeling of triumph, that dopamine level of like, hey, I did something that I looked at the situation and I just tried my best.
Oh yeah.
And that feeling of trying your best is cool. But when you take that away and just say, oh, it's an option now. Well, now you don't feel the boss anymore. Now the boss is just circling you, holding their sword, and you don't feel it anymore. Has anybody ever done that where you're like fighting a boss and it's difficult? You've been fighting him for 2+ days now. And then you finally, and the game goes, do you want to lower the difficulty? And you're like, fuck you. And then when you lower the difficulty and go to normal mode, you know immediately that the game, you don't feel it anymore. You're just like, I've been working my ass off trying to get his combos and everything. But when you put it to normal and easy, you're like, I don't want to kill him, because if I kill him, I'm going to feel like a little bitch. You know what I mean?
For me, that was
But
like playing through Halo on normal mode. It's like, no, if you're not playing on heroic or above, it's just not worth playing.
It's just not worth playing, especially when you worked your ass off through the whole campaign, and you reach that point where it's very hard, and then you change the difficulty. Now the characters are just standing there waiting for you to shoot them. You're just like, nah, I want to go back.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's basically what he's doing. When you start to take apart RPG moments, why did you have the decision in the first place? So you have decisions in Assassin's Creed, right? Okay, that's cool. Depending on whether or not those decisions even matter in the first place.
Sure.
But if you've removed those decisions, then why were they in there in the first place? So now you got the developers out here working double time, because when it comes to dialogue, that's a lot of work. When you're making different branches and stuff, that's more work. And then you just put it as an option. You just made the developers work harder for something that probably most of the audience aren't even going to play.
So I look at this and go, okay, so if the best way to play the game, according to this guy here, if the best way to play the game is canon mode, which is a linear game, which is supposedly just going to follow the best storyline possible, the one that's designed to give you the absolute best results, best ending, everything else. You're talking about going back to what Assassin's Creed started as in the very beginning, because it didn't start off as an RPG. It was not an open world RPG. So what they're saying basically is this game has failed to deliver as an RPG, and it should just be a linear game. So what the hell are they doing? You know, exactly to your point. And furthermore, when I first played through Dark Souls 3, I was like stuck for a couple of nights on the freaking Abyss Watchers. I don't know why I had the hardest time with that damn group of bosses, but those dudes, I could not beat them. I took a 3-month break from the game. I said, screw it. And I didn't play it for 3 months. I came back 3 months later, beat them on the first try. Don't know how, don't know why, but it just happened. And then I finished the game afterwards. But yeah.
You ever play Elden Ring and the boss really pisses you off?
Oh, every boss.
And then you're just like, you use a summon and immediately you can feel the difference and you're like, just kill me. I can't you just run yourself off.
There
the,
are bosses that even with the summon, I'm still like, I can't do this. I can't. There are some of them.
That's true, but as soon as the boss is like completely ignoring you, and now you're doing combos on the boss, which you could have never done if he was fully on attention mode with you, and you just don't have that feeling. Consequences, decision makings with RPGs is very important. Now, I'll be honest. Assassin's Creed should have never been a fucking RPG.
No.
Everybody remember Assassin's Creed Odyssey? I tried to assassinate this one big guy, and I stabbed him in the back and assassinated him, but he had so much RPG neck meat that he still lived. This man lost 25% of his health. And I was like, what sort of neck meat do you got? You eating your Wheaties? I stabbed you in the neck. And as soon as I felt that, I was like, yo, it's not the same anymore.
Oh,
because
man.
if I remember correctly, Black Flag, all these other games, you would insta-kill people. You would hit somebody in the head with a tomahawk, and they would be like, done. Now, I did see that they added this a little bit with Assassin's Creed Shadows with the combat, just a little bit, but it's it doesn't hold with everything else wrong with the game.
Right.
So,
no, see, for me, I gave up on Assassin's Creed after I finished Unity. For me, Unity, I was like, this was the most boring game I ever made myself finish, and I quit. I was done. I haven't touched a single one since then.
The world looked cool in the
the environment was cool, like Notre Dame and everything else was fantastic. The story was god awful. I hated it. It bored me to tears, and I'm like, I'm done.
Everybody knows what the best Assassin's Creed is. Let's say it all together. 3, 2, 1. Brotherhood.
Oh yeah, there we go. Brotherhood. I thought you were gonna say Black Flag.
That multiplayer game, I played it religiously.
Yes,
I played it religiously.
God, it was so good.
I would put like, what's it called, the little dummies, the little doppelgangers, and people would be trying to kill the doppelganger, and I was like, wrong Nick. I mean, wrong person.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I bitch slapped them because they got the wrong person. It's like, gotcha.
No, honestly, Brotherhood, not just because of the fact that it was still part of the Ezio trilogy and everything else, but just the gameplay mechanics, all the, like, everything about that game. I remember just his outfits alone, the customization, all of it. I was like, this game is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Black Flag is good, but honestly, if I'm going to be talking about this as an Assassin's Creed game, I think Brotherhood is a better Assassin's Creed title. Black Flag is an amazing game.
It is.
As a standalone experience, it is fantastic.
Absolutely. And I really do like the story along with...
Dude, the sea shanties. Getting to pick up the different sea shanties along the way, and then you're out on the ocean and you get to listen to them, yeah.
Alexa, shut up. Anyway, I like the fact that there was literally a girl trying to be a boy in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and nobody cared.
Right. Nobody
cared because it was, I know it's just a disguise, but nobody cared back then. It was just normal. It was awesome. And yeah.
Well, that's kind of like Mulan. That's kind of like we had stories in the movies back then where the girl just tried to sneak around and fit in with the boys, and then they discovered her as a girl and stuff, and that shit happened. It's like, it wasn't, oh, this is our non-binary, compatriot here on our pirate ship. It's like, they didn't do that shit. So
I'll be honest though, my dick meter was ticking when I saw her. I was like, she was like, come on, we gotta go set sail. And I'm like, you got titties? Anyway.
Oh man.
But I remember Pack-a Girl. Pack-a Girl's funny.
She is. She's interesting. I agree with like half the things she says. But I brought this up because I thought you'd find this enjoyable. So I saw this and I was waiting for this one, because the discussion comparing what's wrong with Assassin's Creed Shadows gay romance options versus Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Naturally, you talk about gay and Kingdom Come, and John Del Rose comes out of the woodwork, right? So he's like, shouldn't you be defending this as optional gay sex and saying anyone who criticizes it is pro-censorship, or is that last month's talking points you were given? So he's talking about the fact that people are making fun of Assassin's Creed Shadows while also still saying that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a good game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've thought about this, and like I've said before, the difference is, of course, the fact that this game has so many of them, and it's the fact that it's the cringy ass dialogue that the game itself has. Yes, there are problems. There's problems with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 as well, with the gay option in the game too. There are problems with that entire side arc and storyline. But this is far more blatant. You literally have people. They have an entire gender diversity and inclusion team in the credits for this game. Okay. They're cut from the same cloth, but they're not the same thing.
It comes to like I know in Mass Effect you had an option to save Ash, my favorite racist bitch with a fat ass, or Caden Alenko, the one guy I've never met before because I always had him killed. I know he was gay, but his character is one of the most interesting characters in all of Mass Effect, and nobody really cared because all these characters were optional of being gay, and now they've turned it into this whole. You haven't excluded. It's not exclusion. I'm saying you've put these sort of the gay romance, the non-binary romances, all these sort of things. You put them on a pedestal. And you've pushed everything down.
Exactly.
To where it's just like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. This is cool. And at the same time, you're alienating those people that you enjoy. So because you'll go, and like I showed you with the two Asian chicks, you have them tackling each other with full armor on, and you don't want to have some sort of scissoring action and they're naked. You don't want to have that moment. I think they would all like that. At least in KCD2, for people that enjoy that, you get to see two balls, and you get that. At least they get that.
They commit to it. So again, they're trying to appeal to them without actually committing to it. So yes.
Yeah.
So Jay Viper says, I see you have a hard time reading, so I'm not surprised you said this. One random deep cut romance option is very different from a game full of them.
Yeah.
True, but I still also say the problem with the game full of options is how well they're construed and delivered. And again, obviously, when you see the dialogue for yourself, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's shit. The dialogue's terrible. Okay.
No, it's not what I want. Fight me financially. I like that name.
I think it started off fight me verbally and turned into fight me financially, but yeah.
I like fight me. I like how they cannot fight me physically, and they're just like, no, just in the game of money. Well, he already won because I'm broke.
So John responded, these ones, as far as I can tell, are just less graphic, so you don't like the graphic ones, but you love watching the graphic ones. I think he meant you don't like the less graphic. I don't know. I love how you guys are so transparently fake. It's just what you can try to garner from clout from some bigger streamers, and it's not actually about the woke content. So he just thinks, honestly, that this is a situation where people are afraid to call out Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but they're not afraid to shit on Assassin's Creed Shadows because it's currently popular. And I say again, plenty of people took issue with both. I think the problem is that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a game that has like 100, 200 hours of dialogue and one romance option that's done very poorly. I think, again, like we've talked about, that was the part that they had the worst level of dialogue and character development with, was the gay romance option, whereas the rest of the game has hundreds of hours of gameplay that have nothing to do with this. This seems like you had some weirdo feminist, fan fiction author that's like, oh, I get to write a game now. Everybody's going to be gay. Everything's going to have gay shit in it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't feel that they're the same thing. So,
which is kind of interesting because I don't want to derail the conversation with something else, but
you're good. I derail myself all the time.
You remember the game The Lost Records?
Yeah.
That game is literally what they stand for. Everybody knows that because they had the whole Life is Strange thing. So that's what they're all about.
Right.
So when they brought that game out, nobody played it. So I find that very interesting. You know what I mean? Because it's just like you got, this is the game. This is your world. So you got all this feminist and, you know, LGBT. This Lost Record game should be your new magnum opus or something. And the game come out and nobody want to play it. Well, yeah, because I just find it awkward. Because if you look at the numbers, it ain't all that great. I think it's because the whole Telltales thing is kind of dying out right now.
100%. All right, you want a prime example? All right, so
What's up?
Hellblade. I don't know if you ever played it. The first game, I thought was great.
I heard. Yep.
I had never played Hellblade before. I played it a couple years ago, like for a Halloween stream. I'm like, oh, this game's awesome. The story's fantastic. I love the voice acting, the thriller, psychological horror side of it's awesome. I gotta get my camera back on. Hang on. I was like, it's all super cool. It's like, it's awesome, great. So I was really looking forward to the sequel, right? Then the sequel came out. And these are games that you would think would cater to the people like Lost Records who like more of the walking simulator story-driven games. Okay. The game on Steam, now it launched on Game Pass, and Game Pass does kill about 90% of sales, they say, from... Let me get you back in here, hang on. I don't know what's going on with both our cameras now. Hang on one sec. When he gets back in here, I'll pop him back in. Unless I have to generate a new link. Let me see here real quick. Oh, we're talking about Alyssa? Yeah. You can't seem to find mention of the game you're referring to. Which game are we talking about? The Lost Records one? See, I really enjoyed... Here he is. I really enjoyed Hellblade 1. I thought it was a great game. I thought that it was really well done. But Hellblade 2 was a snooze fest. It turned into like a bunch of girl boss crap. And it also launched on Game Pass, and the numbers speak for themselves. So clearly there's not a market. God. There's not a market for this.
About the Game Pass.
Dude, they say Game Pass kills about 90% of PC sales.
Yeah, Game Pass is not really good for developers.
Yeah. And unfortunately, when you deliver a product that doesn't live up to the hype, and people played this game and they did not give it positive reviews. They're like, it plays really well, like a hardware test kind of game to see like how well the hardware works and all that shit. But other than that, it's like it's not good.
I think two things made that game fail. I think it was the Game Pass, and also the fact that the story between her husband, the head that she was holding of her husband, and the whole psychological thought process of her trying to move on and stuff like that was really interesting. And I'll be honest, that story should have stopped right there.
Yes.
So when they brought the second one in, I was just like, well, now what is she doing?
Right. That's when it gets into girl boss mode, and clearly the numbers don't lie because they just weren't there. So when you look at a game like Lost Records, and I talked about this, I did a video last year, a big old article talking about Life is Strange Double Exposure, because Don't Nod, who had done the first few games, handed it off to Deck 9, who has now been shut down. And so I was talking to somebody who was a developer at Deck 9 because I knew he wasn't some woke leftist weirdo, and I'm like, okay, what's going on behind the scenes there? Because there's a lot of articles that have come out, a lot of conversation. I'm like, if you would feel free to share some of what you know about the situation behind the scenes, you can feel free to talk to me. I won't dox you or whatever. So he had me look into an old article that IGN wrote that was basically a hit piece on Deck 9 because they weren't woke enough. The narrative director was too based. He was not allowing enough of these women to share their trauma in the game's stories. And basically, they wanted to make it like a representation of themselves to share all their life traumas and all their, the kind of shit you see in Lost Records, right? It's a complete woke hellhole. And because he was like, no, we need to make a good game and we have to have a good story. These women were even claiming that him being nice to them and walking to them in the car and stuff was like sexual harassment, even though he was completely cleared of any wrongdoing. They had it out for this studio because the studio was not Don't Nod. It was a different studio. They weren't progressive enough. They weren't woke enough. And so there was a witch hunt within the company to try to get these people.
Didn't they do the same thing with Farm Folks?
Alyssa Mercante did the same thing with Farm Folks with the CEO when she interviewed him, because she basically chose her words in a way or portrayed what he said in a way that made him look like he hated anti-wokers and how he thought gamers suck and everything else. Yeah.
Luckily, I saw that one podcast where he was speaking. But I never thought I would say this, but Bobby Kotick, come on. Come on. I need you.
Right, we're all in his camp now at this point.
Bobby, yep.
So I guess we can kind of touch briefly on this Snow White situation. And I know I had somebody that was spamming the chat when we first started streaming here, like, oh, why are grown men complaining and crying about Snow White? It's like, first off, piss off. Who pays for their daughters to go see these movies? Who pays for their girlfriend or buys tickets with their wife and kids to go see these?
I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people still have their square TVs in their VHSs, man. Like those things are really, really cheap, and finding a copy of Snow White is very, very easy. Like the old school one, it's very easy. A lot of people are starting to do these things where they're trying to self-preserve a little bit, not only with food, where I'm seeing a lot of people have gardens and chickens in their
real,
backyard.
dude. That's a thing now, man. Everyone's canning and all that. Yeah,
trying to get their own eggs. A lot of people are just keeping their old retro games and their old movies, and they're just playing them again, because Hollywood and video games are starting to be lukewarm, and lo and behold, people aren't going to eat your slop. Like, unless there's some crazy mandate where you force us to watch stuff, which, by the way, if you want to watch your nation fail, try that. But it's a fast track to losing a lot of people, and Rachel Zegler didn't help.
Oh my
and I'm
God.
going to be honest with people. People are talking about Rachel Zegler. Like, the people around Rachel Zegler don't like Rachel Zegler. Yes, you fucking do. Everything that she says, you agree with. You're just mad she said it out loud.
Yeah,
that's all.
They just don't like being connected to her because she doesn't know how to shut her mouth. It's not that they don't agree with her. It's that they know it's bad for business. That goes back to the whole Michael Jordan thing. Well, Republicans buy shoes also. Why would I piss off half my customers,
Yeah.
Yeah, so this has just been an interesting thing. I was actually thinking about maybe covering this in a video tomorrow on my other channel, because the downfall of Disney, it's kind of like Ubisoft. They've done this to themselves. They have no one else to blame. These live action remakes, first off, I don't understand how they make money. That's what I don't understand, because so many of them have looked so bad. Are people that willing to just consume that they'll go see anything these days that has like Disney's name attached to it? Like, I don't understand the mindset. I see a trailer for Aladdin. I see a trailer for, again, any of these remakes, and I go, it looks like shit. It's not as good as the cartoon. It's not as charming. It doesn't work with real people. And then you have the fact that these people they're hiring, like Rachel Zegler, are complete vapid narcissists. Where's the draw? What's making people go see it?
A lot of people just want a lot of people just want their kids to shut up for 1 hour and a half.
Okay, well,
that's pretty much like it's like all right, you can watch this movie, and I can relax and probably eat my food and just relax with my kid for a little bit. A father will be like, yo, I'm having splitting custody, and I guess I'll just let her watch Snow White, because I know a lot of people aren't following the whole zeitgeist with this whole thing. And it's just like, because I've done this when I was babysitting my sister's kids, where I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna turn on Despicable Me so y'all can shut up.
Hey, before I had my own kids, I was an uncle for a long time. I get it. I totally get it. Like, not my kids. You watch too much TV. I'm gonna give you some candy, send you home to my brother. I don't care. Whatever.
I'd be like, they'd be screaming, and I'll be like, it's like, shut up, TV, Despicable Me, popcorn, blanket, lay down, sit down.
Exactly.
And I turn off the light, and then I walk away, and all I hear inside that room is like, some minions and shit. And
exactly. I'm like, so Thomas Tompkins says, 5 years ago, yes, people would just consume product and get excited for next product. Nowadays, people are a lot more hesitant. Yes, except in the case of, I think, that Mufasa movie that nobody even knew anything about, and I heard some songs from it, and it was terrible. I think it still made like $1 billion. I could be wrong. I need to see how much it actually made, but it made money as far as I remember. And it was like, first off, the Lion King live action shit looks the worst of it. When you do like CG animals set in the real world, I'm sorry, I don't like it. I think it looks
I
like
don't
crap.
like it. I think the animated Mufasa's son made more money than the Mufasa, show that you watch, because it's older.
Mhm.
It's just animated back in the day, because Mufasa, they made one where it's like Mufasa's son, and Mufasa's son is in love with Simba's daughter, and that probably made more money than somebody in chat will know about it. But I watched that a couple of times.
Oh, you mean Simba's
But
Simba's son and
no, it was Simba's daughter
Simba's daughter and
and
someone else's son.
Mufasa's
Scar.
Scar's son. I'm Scar's son. My bad. Scar's son and Simba's daughter. Yeah, that was what it was.
Which
My bad.
thankfully that wouldn't be incest, even though they're animals. So it doesn't really matter, because I guess one of the I guess in the backstory, one of the two lions, Scar and Mufasa, one was adopted, so they're not actually
We
related.
see dogs hump pillows. What are we going to call them? Philophobia?
Exactly. Yeah. No. But yeah, you're right. So but somehow that movie still made money, as far as I remember. But yeah, so they're trying to portray this as some sort of win, and this is the funniest thing. Like, the media is trying. All I've seen for the last 2 days is these psycho-obsessed Rachel Zegler fan accounts on Twitter. And if you say a single negative thing about it, this is the funniest shit. They will go after you. And I'm like, you're literally a stan account. Nobody cares about your opinion, right?
They're not bots?
They could be bots. They might be bots. But there are, believe it or not, there are stan accounts on Twitter, these people who are nothing but fans for other people, that live their entire life worshiping a celebrity or a group of celebrities. It's sad.
To be honest, like, you're always going to find them in some sort of fan base, especially with Disney. And I'm pretty sure some people in Acolyte have fans like that as well. Like, you'll have your like you said, the Kylo Ren and
the shippers, the Reylos
shippers.
Yeah.
They probably still exist somewhere if they haven't. Anyway.
So yeah, so basically everybody's given this movie like terrible ratings, except for a few outlets that are trying really hard to push this shit. Let me check currently, like, on the tomato meter. Yeah, sitting at 48% on 96 reviews right now. But like, Bloomberg says Disney's new Snow White film fights culture wars and wins, while she's sitting here looking like Farquaad. I mean, this right here is like,
she got caterpillar eyebrows. I don't know how you could.
How does anybody see this? And then there's.
I've already seen The Bug's Life. I don't need to see it again.
The whole situation with, of course, the dwarves, where they decided they couldn't use midgets for dwarves, and so they had to like use CGI dwarves instead. And it's like, you've had so many people that are like, I would have done that. I would have taken that role. Like, it wouldn't bother me at all.
It is not them saving money. They are spending more money.
And it looks terrible.
Is really, really expensive. I think it's kind of bloated, the price with CGI.
Oh, 100%.
But the fact that they couldn't, it's a. I blame the Jews. No, I'm just kidding. But it's at the same time offensive, and also at the same time there's this whole sort of it's offensive to like smaller people, and it's also like at the same time they're trying to prop it up to like, we hear you and we understand, I'm we're
the way I look at it, is it's kind of like
Peter Dinklage, by the way.
Yeah, seriously,
for his bullshit.
It's like when a liberal white woman wants to tell a black man what he needs as a black man.
Oh shit.
That's to me what it feels like, because you have these people telling the little people, oh no, you can't play that role, that's offensive, and they're like, but I'm not offended by it.
Yeah.
Like, why do I need you to defend me? I take the role. I'm cool with that.
Same thing with like voice acting for characters that are black, white, and all this. You don't need a black character to play a black character unless that you want a thick accent or of some sort. That's fine. But if, like, for example,
wait, are you saying that black people sound black?
Huh?
I said, are you saying that black people sound black? I thought we couldn't say that.
I'm about to say the N-word. But Elden Ring, Melania, Blade of Mikola. I'm pretty sure we've heard that 100 times. She's literally voiced by English voice actor who is black.
Mm.
And it's just like, her voice is great. Her voice is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's just like this whole sort of like, I'm trying to be, I don't know why feminists and like white people white leftists do this whole sort of like, oh, I'm helping you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not giving you a job, which is really, really disgusting.
So the voice acting is a weird one because voice acting has kind of broken up into two parts. One of them is just straight up voice acting where you don't look like the character, but they still want authentic casting. And I've talked about this extensively with like the Marvel Morph character where they cast a gay man and then they made Morph non-binary. Erika Ishii, who's
we need a gay person to play a gay person.
Yeah, exactly. For Ghosts of Yotei, they hired a woman who's a lesbian, non-binary activist, and guess what? They're going to make the character, I guarantee, exactly like that, because all the characters Erika Ishii plays in games are gay. They're all lesbian. They're all non-binary. Yeah. So now you're talking about a situation where I think your camera froze. Hang on.
Huh? Sorry, I'm just standing here.
Oh no, you're good. Okay, cool. You didn't die on me. All right. Yeah. So there's a difference between voice acting and then motion capture acting, right? The problem is they're treating them the same. It's not just enough that you've got, voice actors who are talented. For some weird reason, even if there's no motion capture involved and you're not using the likeness of the actor themselves, the actor still has to match the character they're playing, at least in terms of ethnicity, sexuality, gender. And it doesn't make any sense. Why? Why does that matter?
Going to be... And at the same time, they have a consultant, and because I know they have a consultant, and now you have so you have 4 different people that are playing that gay character. So you got the gay actor or actress, you got the consultant, you got the writer, and you got the director. So who's the character here?
Right. Well, so, they say that you should also have, black people written by black people, gay people written by... That's basically saying you cannot write anything other than the orientation and ethnicity and gender that you were born. So nobody can write anything at that point.
Yeah, it's downright like ridiculous. And also at the same time, it's fucking racist.
Oh yeah, no, it really is.
Because it's you're basically telling people to stay in your lane.
Oh, 100%.
That's what you're doing.
100%.
So if you tell people to stay in your lane while at the same time you take all the white characters out, that's fucked up. Have you seen the level of how many redheads that were supposed to be redheads in film and video games, and then they just delete them and make it some ugly black bitch? I'm sorry. I want a pale redheaded chick. I don't know about you, but that brave chick is looking scrumdiddlyumptious.
Dude, did you see Kata's video on this whole Harry Potter thing on Twitter about where he's like, if you take the words of Ginger and change them around, you see what they spell? I had never heard that before, and I'm like, oh my god, I just about died. I couldn't believe...
Wow.
I had never heard that before, and this black guy says it, and I'm like, oh holy shit! I had never even had that thought, not once.
He's like, "Are you sure you want me to play this character?" Yes, you're exactly where you need to be. What the fuck? What?
Just a few changes of the order of the letters, no big deal.
You sure you want me to play Ronald Weasley? Yes, you're exactly where we need to be. Do I need to have red hair? No, you're already a Nick. You're good. It's like, no, you're already a Nick. You're good.
Oh yeah, Kato went super viral. Actually, Asmongold watched that video that he did. That was pretty freaking awesome. So some of these reviews are pretty awesome here. So you got one. Oh, this is funny though. It's the South China Morning Post. I wouldn't be surprised for them not to like this. It says, more bland than brave, this corporate-sanctioned, committee-made children's film does not come close to achieving the classic status afforded its animated predecessor, 2 out of 5. That's not actually that bad, actually. Could be worse. I don't hate the movie. I was deeply frustrated with the movie. Nowhere more than with the screenplay. It felt like 3 or 4 movies having what people saw as its best parts slammed together. The little kids won't mind. No, it's not too terrible. This one's weird.
Yeah.
This is a negative review. Rachel Zegler shines as Snow White. The first act started off strong.
Well,
I
sorry. I see it. Sorry, I was looking at the stream, but I was also looking at you. Say it again.
Rachel Zegler shines as Snow White. I want to know how, but okay. The first act started off strong, but the rest of the movie felt choppy and patched together. Godot's evil queen did not work for me, though she looked fantastic.
I don't know what you're talking about. You mean Snow White, the lady that just wanted to, go to a party and, meet a cute boy and have a, go to a dance with a cute boy? But what we got was Rachel Zegler not cleaning the fucking house, not getting me a fucking sandwich, and not cutting her eyebrows down. And you mean to tell me Gal Gadot? I'm telling you right now, boys, men, probably even the kids, if they see Gal Gadot in that witch uniform, we don't give a fuck what she says, okay? We don't give a fuck. What the hell are you putting up on the screen? It's like, it's supposed to be Snow White, not Beauty and the Beast. What the hell is this?
This tweet got 78 million impressions. It's probably higher than that. There are articles that got written about this tweet, okay?
Somebody's gonna anamorphs that shit.
So this is a real thing, all right? This is an actual, and again, people have body hair. That's not the point.
Yeah, it's fine.
The point is that people made this tweet. He's like, this is why Disney's about to lose $300 million. 82 million impressions, and this has like pissed everybody off on Twitter. It's like, guys, this is a troll post. Why do you react? I look at it, I kind of laugh, and I move on. If
I hit it from the back, I'm holding on those little hairs. I'm telling you that. It's gonna piss her off.
I'm over here like, why is everyone defending it? Look, if my back gets hairy, I take the razor and just kind of scrape some of that off. It's not hard. Like, if I can do it, so can she. Like, I don't understand. Like, but okay, whatever. So here's the part that I found really interesting in all of this, right? Not even about the movie itself. In all the negative press she's managed to surround herself with, she still won't shut up. Okay?
No.
So now we have this interview apparently where it says Rachel Zegler claims that white executives questioned her Latina identity during West Side Story casting.
Question her.
I mean, her last name's Zegler. So I guess I could see that it being kind of like, is your daddy Argentinian or something? Like, did your granddaddy escape Germany in World War II?
Who cares? This is some sick, bro. It feels like they're. It feels like you're collecting slaves in Hollywood,
right?
Like, yo, I'm looking for an authentic, Latina. But is she more white or Latina? I feel like Hollywood is at the slave market, and he's like, "Oh, I like this black guy," and then the black guy's like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, he doesn't sound black. Get him out of here."
Yeah, he's not black enough, right? We've seen that before. It's like not black enough, right? So on one hand, I'm gonna defend the executives a little bit because here's the thing: they live in this world where they have to authentically cast people. And if they don't, they're going to hear about it later on. I remember this back when I was a teenager. We went to Disneyland, like one of the one times my family took a vacation. And Antonio Banderas was cast in a movie to play a Mexican. And there were protests outside of Disneyland by Mexican people who were like, we shouldn't have a Spaniard playing our Mexican, blah, 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 right? So this culture in Hollywood where they have to authentically cast now, which kind of goes back to the whole voice acting thing, has created this situation where these guys are terrified to cast the wrong person in the role if they don't have enough enough drops of melanin for a black person. Or, I mean, you've probably seen this on Twitter, right? Over the whole Moana live action they're doing. Not Moana, sorry, not Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
Although they did the same thing for Moana. They did the exact same thing.
But she is actually Hawaiian. Isn't
Both
she?
of the, I think both of them are. Both of them are Hawaiian and Filipino mixed. Ironically, I think both actresses
That's
for
fine. Yeah, it's
yeah
perfect.
for Stitch and Moana both are.
I'm gonna be honest about that Zora thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. I'm sorry. I know I'm being really American right now. It's like, you not Spanish? It's like, all y'all look alike. I'm sorry.
It's one of those things where it's like, who cares? But again, for some weird reason, there are groups of people who feel like I have to be authentically represented, right? So
No. But he played Zorro well, right?
yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, he was great.
He was awesome. It's
He
like,
was great.
but if you speak like this and you're like, oh yeah, you killed my father. But if you talk like this, I'm gonna be like, yeah, he likes tacos. Hire him. I don't. I wish I could reach you at a certain level, but he's hot. He has his shirt cut off. Ladies swoon. Everybody's happy.
I mean, they cast that entire cast of that Mask of Zorro movie. They cast intentionally to put asses in seats. They got Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was like a complete smoke show. They had Antonio Banderas, which would get the female audience. You had the Anthony Hopkins for people who wanted like really good acting. That was it. That was like the perfect formula. That's all they needed, and the movie did great. So it's like, but no, there was a uproar about him not being Mexican. So. She says apparently in a cover story for Allure, a magazine that I'm sure 99% of people don't read, the actor, this is her biggest problem. She's 23 years old. Like, she has no life experience at all. Claimed that white executives asked her to prove her Latina heritage was legit during the casting process for Spielberg's remake of the famous 1961 musical.
She said allegedly, or?
She said that they asked her to prove that it was legit. She's claiming this as fact. She says, there's confusion because I don't have a single ounce of Latin in my name, Ziegler, who is Colombian American, told the outlet. When I was in the running for Maria and West Side Story, they kept calling to ask if I was legit. I remember thinking, do you want me to bring my abuelita in? I'll bring her into the studio if you want to meet her. She said, having a bunch of white executives have you prove your identity to them, it's an interesting experience being part of that diaspora in the current climate we live in, but I love being Colombian. I was really hoping that this was going to say she was Argentinian and her grandfather escaped Nazi Germany or something or whatever in like the World War II, and that she's actually the descendant of some Hitler second in command kind of guy. But no, her daddy's Polish, I guess. I don't know.
Do all these white CEOs like watch Monk or something? Or?
I don't know. all I know is this is the same kind of shit. This is the same kind of shit I saw last month when I dabbled into Black Twitter, and I was like, oh my god, my timeline is ruined. My timeline's destroyed. Over that Twitch streamer who got cast out of the all-girl Black Twitch Call of Duty thing that she wanted to do because she wasn't black enough. And basically because she was mixed, like all these black people turned on her and they wanted her to prove she was black. I'm like,
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard
it's
about that
so retarded. I'm like, this is exactly the same thing.
It is. The people that they're trying, to avoid or trying not to upset. It may be at a certain point, but I think it's mostly probably the big heads.
Right.
Like the big heads are just like, well, we want to basically be Noah's Ark where we have 2 black people and 2 white people and then 2 Asian people. And I know this stuff sort of goes deeper, but it's just at a certain point, you have to realize that you just have to make your show look like fun. If you have an animated series where all the characters are white, you can come out and make all the characters white. So, but when you come out for like the How to Train Your Dragon girl comes out and she's black, you never cared about their skin color to begin with.
Right.
You're following some other sort of logic. So now the crowd is upset still, and they still hire those said people.
Right.
I mean, hire those said people. So I don't think it's the audience. I think somebody else is saying like, because like you said with the whole Zorro thing, it goes way back then, right? but they're still doing it even
Yeah,
now.
and that
at
was
this point, they just don't care.
that was over 20 years ago now. So that wasn't even like in the modern woke, modernized, modern audience chasing politically correct world we're in now. That was
Back when
decades
people
ago
said
now.
letters.
Making myself feel old.
Yeah, but it was I'm starting to think that like everybody knows like a certain character should be certain certain race because that's how the character is, and then some characters can just fit well, like for example what's his name, Samuel L. Jackson being
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
I thought you were going to say like Idris Elba, because he's another one of those black actors who I'm like, put that guy in anything, I don't care. I'll watch him in pretty much everything,
Exactly. Like also with the Flash CW show, like literally Flash's characters in a romance with a white woman, but in the show he's in love with a black woman. I was like, I'm pretty sure she's white, but I think that it's rare to find a black beautiful woman. So I was like, you know what? She's all right.
You said it, not me.
She's not jiving. She's not going, hey, sticking her tongue out. She has an awesome father that takes care of her, and she has a beautiful smile. She's pretty, and I'm just like, you know what? She's fine. She's feminine. I like her.
Oh my god.
But as soon as they kind of like with the whole thing with Invincible, how Invincible had a black girlfriend, and I'm just like, why did you do that?
Right. Okay. So like, that was one of those
Amazon.
things. I did not watch Invincible, but I've been paying attention to all the discourse around it, and everybody hates her. Everybody hates her.
I hate that bitch.
I don't think it's because she's black. I think it's because they made her an unlikable like bitch. It's just
This man coming out here trying to save lives and shit, trying to save their own friends who've been dying, and then he finally tells her like, hey, yes, I'm invincible, and then she's like, but you didn't tell me right, or something like that. I don't want to remember. I don't want to go back in that world where I find out why she made me angry. I let that thing go.
exactly.
But I like that the fact that season 3 he's no longer with that bitch and he's with a redhead. And I'm like, it's about fucking time. Redheads, let's go, baby.
Okay, did you see that they cast the girl from Stranger Things, the redheaded girl, to be in a Marvel project? I think a Spider-Man movie, possibly. So people are saying, wait a second, we're going to have a pretty redheaded Mary Jane, possibly. And it's like, don't get your hopes up, guys. Don't expect it.
What age would she be? I think
She
she's like
is...
8.
No, she's early 20s now, because that
Early
show,
20s.
good God, it's taken them forever to get like all these seasons filmed. And I don't even like, I was really into the first couple seasons, and then after the massive break, my wife watched them. I watched most of them with her, and they were still good, but it's like, I was so disconnected with that point. It's like, I'll watch them, but I just don't really care that much.
It was starting to be a trend with each season where you'd be like, oh, I like this character, and they were like, we're going to kill him. And I was like, oh, man, that sucks. And then the next season comes out, and I'm like, oh, I like this character. We're going to kill him. And I'm like, never mind. You're fine. You're fine. It was starting to become the same routine with each season. And now I could just tell what was happening with each season. And I think the one season that I kind of liked was the fact that 11 couldn't use her powers.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, shoot, they got to lock in now because 11's not going to save their ass all the time.
Right.
I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, like it's I think that show should have probably ended last season. I don't know why they're still going to do it.
Actors are all, it's one of those weird things. It's kind of like with my wife has been watching Beverly Hills 90210, like reruns and stuff. And you have
What
these...
did I say?
Yeah.
What? They ain't watching new shows.
No, I'm talking. And we're watching these shows with actors who were in their 20s playing like 16-year-olds, and you go, this just feels really weird, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy. But someone was saying Thomas Tompkins said she's not a smoke show like Mary Jane is, but I would disagree to the fact that I would say that this actress is far prettier than 90% of the women who have played Mary Jane up until this point.
Yeah, get Zendaya out. She looks like a rag.
Oh my god, Zendaya! I'm so over Zendaya.
I'm sorry. I need a real fucking MJ, not Cameron. Oh, not is it Cameron Diaz?
No. So you had
No.
Kirsten Dunst was the first
Kirsten
one,
Dunst.
and then the blonde chick. I can't remember her name. Wasn't she was blonde, right? In the Andrew
Kirsten
Garfield
Dunst
one.
was okay in the first one or the second one when her nipples were out and she was kissing
in the
Spider-Man
rain, upside down.
in the upside down. I was like, this is primo Mary Jane. I mean, wait, MJ.
MJ. Yeah.
I'm getting my names mixed up, but MJ.
Mary Jane MJ. Same difference. Whatever.
And then I remember like later on, she was just like, you need to understand me. I'm trying to make it out here as an actress. And this man's literally got dirt all over him. And he's like, and he hasn't paid his rent.
Right.
And I'm just like, just get with that chick that's across the apartment, bruh. The one blonde-haired chick that have that buttery face. The one girl that said happy birthday, Peter Parker. I was like, just get in there, bruh. You gotta have your Peter, you need to have yourself a side bitch. Everybody knows this.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know who he's talking about now. Stephanie Tyler Jones. Yeah, okay. Get her to play Mary Jane, absolutely. That would be perfect. But
what's she look like?
I'm grabbing a picture of her right now. Let me find one that's actually a full picture. No, I don't want her IMDb. I hate Google sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh god, the side by side is brutal. I'm just gonna bring this over here. Look at this. That side by side. Not
like
that.
How,
oh god.
Not the other one.
Here we go.
That's the girl. I like how that girl literally got so much likes out of nowhere and a lot of guys like following her and stuff. And she said the most kind, feminine thing. And she was like, I appreciate the praise, guys, but I'm not playing as MJ anymore. He's like, I'm just moving on with my modeling life.
Yep.
Like, it's a rare thing for like somebody who's like, in Broadway or something.
Yeah, like a 10 out of 10, gorgeous and famous, and exactly.
And is actually kind. She's not going out like, you nerds, you gooners need to leave me alone. You Trump MAGA lovers need to leave me. Like, she's just like, yeah, I'm married. I appreciate you guys, but I'm married.
Well, I find that funny too, because it's like I feel like both sides throw the incel word around, and I'm like, this is kind of like the two retards fighting meme. Because I don't think that any like incel exists on one side of the political spectrum or the other. I think both sides have, that same kind of mindset. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely some femcells out there.
Oh, for real.
We just don't talk about them that much. We're just like, we see the lady and she's like, I can't stand men. Oh, she's female. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like half a woman.
I don't
nowadays.
even call her a femcel. It's like, oh yeah, they all say.
No, Mari, the one on the left is the actual voice actress. The one on the right is what they created in the video game. And it's
so they didn't motion capture?
I want to say she was the actual motion capture actress, but they didn't use her likeness for the character. This is the same situation as, I think her name is Humberto Gonzalez, the one that did the motion capture for the chick Kay Vess from Star Wars Outlaws, is gorgeous. And Kay Vess is very plain.
Yeah. With likeness? They threw likeness out the window.
So I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm actually okay with them creating models from scratch. I wish we would create models from scratch, because I'm sick and tired of seeing the same like Hollywood actor in a video game. I want to play my video games to play a video game. Movies are movies, video games are video games. So give me an original model that's created from scratch, and I get it, that takes more time. I understand. But at the same time, it's like, why would you motion capture somebody and that's this beautiful and not use their likeness? It just seems retarded.
Same thing with the Fable lady.
Oh, yeah. And she's pretty in real life. I don't think she's like gorgeous, but she's far prettier than the character in the game.
Really nice smile and stuff. And it's funny, though, because I'm just not going to play another Insomniac game, because the developers said, like, I'm going to make all the games have Mary MJ, like, scenes where you play as MJ. I'm just gonna do it to piss you guys off, and I'm like, okay, now you're being petty. He's like he's even said that on like a podcast or so. He's like I know the people don't like it, but I'm always gonna make MJ like be a part of the game. You're always gonna play MJ.
Right.
And I'm like, man, that you're not even gonna level with the people that play her game, because she's got the best weapon in the game.
So retarded.
I like how Peter Parker, who still had the symbiote suit in Spider-Man 2, was literally about to fight his own girlfriend when she pulled out the gun. You need to take off the suit, Peter. And Peter was like, I know you got that gun behind you, bitch. Do it. And I was like, God damn, I love this. Do it and see what happens. I was like, yo, we can stop this game right here.
Dude, what have we got now? Okay, so Richie says they released JFK files, 32,000 more of them. Oh my god. Dude, I don't even know if I care to look through all of this. Look,
I'm just gonna wait until somebody summarizes it.
Basically what I've heard, the CIA did it.
Yeah.
And there's connections to other countries, maybe Israel, maybe Mossad. That was kind of the obvious one. Hey,
Yeah,
40 campers.
I'm just gonna wait until somebody summarizes it for me.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I mean, I saw that a whole bunch of the stuff came out yesterday, and it's like, okay, that's cool and all, or technically yesterday now, yeah. And it's like that's all well and good, but it doesn't sound like anything we didn't already know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, see, he was worried that the CIA threatened the State Department's power, sure, but like,
the biggest concern that I have is there's a lot of influence out there where they just want America's money to be siphoned somewhere away from America. I think that's why they really don't like Trump.
Right.
They really don't like Trump. He's like, hey, why don't we just, give stuff to other people? And I'm like, no, we shouldn't do that. And then this whole thing with Israel and JFK, where they were just like, it's like, hey, how about we just, what was it with the nukes or something like that?
Oh shit, we're talking about Israel or we're talking about somebody else?
I think we're talking about Israel. It was something related to like nukes or something.
The only thing I know about with nuclear weapons with Israel is the whole Samson option, I think, is what they call it, where if they get attacked and they get outnumbered, they're just going to nuke the entire world or some shit like that. I've heard about that, but I'm like, oh, that makes me feel good.
Oh yeah. Like there was a
lot
lot of the what I've read so far was just a whole bunch of like, we need to be involved in this that has nothing to do with us. We need to be involved with this that has nothing to do with us, and this. And then JFK was just like, no. I mean, I've sent these many troops. They shouldn't even be here in the first place. No. And they got tired of it.
Showing 1 through 10 of 2,182 entries in the National Archives. Holy shit. This is going to take some autistic people quite a few days to go through.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it to the autistic people to help me out because they're more powerful than I am.
I should talk about the USS Liberty. Okay, so the thing about that, it's really funny because I saw Gerald from...
What's up?
Oh, the USS Liberty thing. That was a U.S. destroyer back in the 1960s that Israel accidentally sunk. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that maybe the president was involved at the time. I can't remember who was president during that. It wasn't Ford, I think, where they were trying to instigate U.S. involvement in a foreign conflict and blame it on somebody else. And so it's an interesting situation. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is gonna be fun to watch. Like you said, I'm gonna wait for other people that have far more free time on their hands than I do to go through all this.
I'm gonna leave it to the Warhammer 40k fans.
Exactly. Yep. Those people that can actually do all that.
They'll put it in a 50-minute video with all these papers. He's like, all right, let me. I'll wait until Luton's done.
Yeah.
He's just gonna post pictures of Warhammer 40k. These 40k pictures have nothing to do with with the papers.
Dude, honestly, I'm at that point where it's like I was talking to I think it was Mari. I think I mentioned I was like I need to learn Japanese. I need to get better at Warhammer 40k lore. I want to start getting into all that stuff. It's like when am I going to have time for new hobbies? I work too much and then I do this. It's like I don't leave myself any free time. So basically, I'm going to have to manufacture time at this point. Because I'm not autistic. I can't. If I have a bad day where it's like I get to the end of my night and it's like I could sit down and record a video or two, or I can just play a game and space out for an hour and a half, I'm probably just gonna space out, you know? Because at the end of the day, it's like I also have to be able to just veg, and unfortunately, I don't leave myself that time.
Are you looking for a time to play video games? Or are you looking for a time to do something more recreational,
but also potentially like again, like I said, like learn a language or a new skill, that kind of stuff too.
If you were ever thinking about doing, there's a couple of good websites for language, like Duolingo. I use for like trying to learn Polish and
that's a
Japanese. Task. I'm trying to. I don't know. The Polish ladies are talking to me, so I'm trying.
Hey, those Polish ladies are based, okay?
Yeah, and it's and when it comes to Warhammer 40k, pick the paint you want, pick one thing, do that. Yeah. Do not do this whole thing where it's like, oh, I should just do a starter kit. Paint the colors you want, one thing, try it out, and even better, you don't have to stream it. Actually, better yet, stream it, but if you want people to watch you make it, that's cool, but you could just start blathering and just start talking while you're just doing the painting.
The hard part for me is I get so easily sidetracked when I stream, so it's like if I was trying to focus on what I was doing, this is why when I stream
video, get easily sidetracked.
Yeah, when I do start, like when I stream a video game, if I spend more time paying attention to chat, everything on screen takes like second fiddle, backseat, whatever. It's like, so I look completely retarded when I play video games on stream because it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm spending 90% of my attention spans over here, you know? So
you're the opposite of me. I get locked in with video games and I'm like, oh crap, people are talking. I need to fix that. I need to find a game that is equal parts boring and equal parts fun. I'm never gonna find that, but
I feel like I've played that game, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Next game I'm trying to play, I'm trying to do the whole BioShock series.
I have both of those, the remasters. I just need to actually sit down and play them.
Yeah, I'm trying not to play something huge because KCD sucked my life away.
Oh, so I quit after about 12 hours, not because I'm not going to go back and finish it, but just because I get sidetracked with other games. So it's like, yeah, I've got like 12, 13 hours in, I think, on KCD too. So it's like, now I got to get back to it at some point. So
funny thing, that's just what's happening with a lot of people. Kitty, that's just what's happening now with a lot of streamers. They're just playing old games.
Yeah.
And that's just, and they're getting a lot of views too, because, you know, if you're not liking Assassin's Creed, well, here's a person playing Mass Effect 1 and 2.
Right.
Here's a person playing BioShock. I just watched some lady who is obviously leftist, but I just like watching her build her house in Enshrouded, or she's playing Dragon Age 2. I just like her voice. I don't know who she is. I just like how she's just geeking out over Dragon Age. And she's just like, oh, I'm going to get with this guy. I'm going to get with this guy. And I'm just watching her, and I'm just like, just to pass the time. I don't know if you got any streamers or people like that.
There was, okay, so I used to watch a lot more Twitch content than I do now. Yeah. And one of them was this guy that was a like retired law enforcement officer. All he would play practically were like shooters and military strategy games and things like mods for Arma, where they were all role-playing military situations and shit.
And let me guess, I bet he barely even talked.
No, he did a lot of talking. He was big personality. He's like this Texas kind of guy. So he's, you know, big personality, a lot of talking, kind of an accent. Nice. Cool. And then there was another one that was a Dark Souls 3 speedrunner. And she was this kind of heavyset British gal, sweet as pie. And she would sometimes sing and do music and shit, and just super awesome vibes. And again, she could have been some like hardcore lefty. I didn't care. It's like she had a great vibe about her, and she was really good at the game, so it was fun to watch. But yeah, Unfortunately, I don't watch much video game content anymore, other than like reveal trailers and everything else. When you're streaming and stuff, I'll drop in and all that, but like dedicated time watching people play video games, not as much as I used to.
For some odd reason, I fall into the only people that I want to watch, because I think first playthrough people are getting massive views.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
talking the people that are
Yeah.
like, this is my first time playing Fallout New Vegas, and I'm like, bitch, I'm gonna watch you. All right, you know, it's one of those kind of people that I like to watch, and it's just like, oh, a pretty girl trying to play Skyrim for the first time,
Exactly.
or a nice person who's just, you know, playing, you know, these old school games for the first time. I'm about to play Oblivion and Morrowind for the first time.
Oh,
So,
shit. Yeah, I mean, I didn't touch Oblivion, but I played Morrowind. I loved that game. It was awesome.
Oh, you did.
It was
How's the
fantastic.
story?
Story's great. Story's awesome. Now, you got to remember, it's probably going to feel a little dated when you go back and play it, but Morrowind, you can legitimately, if you can imagine it in the game, you can make it. You can make a spell for it. You can make a scroll or a potion for it. The game is pretty unlimited with what you can do within the game itself.
So it's like Avowed. That's cool.
It's better than Avowed. It's what Avowed wishes it could be.
Stop comparing Avowed.
Dude, here's the funniest thing. Look, before all the controversy, I looked at Avowed and said Avowed just looks mid. It might be fine. Yeah. It might be a perfectly fine time killer game, but it never looked like a game that was worth the amount of effort to put into it. It just didn't.
Well, that's because the Pillars of Eternity and any game that's centered around story, RPG, and dialogue, if your dialogue and story, because you're walking around and you have to make the player pay attention. So if you're out there and your characters are just like, oh, hey adventurer, how you doing? Can you go take care of these 5 rats? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gone. I'm done.
Yep.
I don't. It's like, oh man, the combat looks good. I didn't reach the combat. I returned that game. So because that's going to be half of the game. Half of the game is the story. Half of the game is the RPG, and people care about that. Now, if we were just Call of Duty, ain't nobody care about the dialogue of that game.
Oh, hell
I'm
no.
shooting a motherfucker from Israel or something. I don't know where they're at. I don't know why I picked that place.
No reason at all.
I'm just kidding, chat.
No reason at all. No, that's the thing. It's like there are certain situations where dialogue doesn't matter in games. And there are, like I've said before, there are certain amounts of dialogue that are acceptably cringy, where even if the game is story heavy, you go, yeah, every video game's going to have a certain amount of dialogue that's shit. I mean, that's just, people hit roadblocks when, like, writer's block when they're writing scripts, and obviously voice actors have bad days. Things happen. But yeah, no, honestly, Morrowind, if you go back and play that game, if you love like open world, the ability to do whatever you want to in RPGs, Morrowind for the time was fantastic.
Yeah, there was
really
a lot
awesome
of games like that, kind of like Neverwinter Nights and all those sort of games where the dialogue just felt like it was straight out of a storybook. Like it could be in league with Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
And I think you find a lot of these people, I think it's because you find a lot of dads who just got out of war, and they're just like, well, I need a hobby. And it's either trains or it's probably, you know, writing a book and stuff like that. And they have some life experience to make these characters feel real. That goes with the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 devs. That goes with the Knights of the Old Republic devs. All these people, they weren't clinging to social media. All they had was, you know, a computer and a dream.
Dude,
and
think about that Sandy Peterson guy that I talked about at the beginning of the stream. Yeah. That man was like, hey, we finished our game 5 weeks ahead of time because they were just grind. This whole thing about crunch and grind is like, look, I've worked in a lot of shitty jobs where I had a lot of long hours. I worked in a family bakery growing up, and I'm talking, it was shit pay, shit hours, on your feet 6-7 days a week, 12-hour days sometimes longer, and it sucked. And it's like when I start hearing people who get paid by the hour, who get paid a decent salary plus, you know, benefits when they're not, it's like all this stuff, when they start complaining about crunch, I'm like, I get it, there are situations that suck, but every job has that.
I think the only reason that crunch was actually a problem was because there was one developer, I think there was one set of developers, I forgot which game it was, which publisher it was, where it wasn't considered crunch, it was considered slavery. But
Right.
every time when another developer was talking about crunch, it was just people locking in, just doing their job. But people try to mask it and be like, "Oh, you're slaving those characters." It was like, no, it's not like EA, it's not like Ubisoft, it's not like them. We're just working hard. We're just trying to get things done. So we
Yeah,
can.
and it's like I'm at this point in my life where if I can work easier than harder, of course I'd rather work easy. I don't want anybody to be overworked. It's just I feel like there's just this massive level of sympathy. Like you honestly, like you instantly have to feel sorry for these people because oh no, they had to work a few extra hours this week. Yeah. I have a semi-seasonal job. That happens to me too. There are times a year where I could sit on my thumb and not have a thing to do all day, and other times a year where I'm probably going to have 5 really shitty days in a row, maybe 6.
And we got to be careful with saying that crunch is bad. I don't think crunch is bad, because this whole, I think laziness can build up. I think
Oh, yeah.
The one developer that used to work on Fallout New Vegas, I forgot his name. Tim. He's got a YouTube channel. Tim something.
Yeah, he put out a video not too long ago. I can't remember his last name, but I know who you're talking about. Tim
But
Kaine.
he was
Tim Kaine?
Tim Kaine.
Yeah.
He was referring to like, hey, can you get this thing done? He was talking to employees like, hey, can you get this thing done and related to the game? And he's like, can someone else do it? And he was like, excuse me? It was something along the lines of just laziness. It's like,
Right.
well, I won't have enough time. And he's like, well, what do you mean you won't have enough time? I'm giving you ample enough time. And then that one employee talks to another associate, and he's like, that associate's just like, he's saying he doesn't like the way you talk to him. He's saying you're being mean. And I'm like, what, is that how you guys talk back there? Where somebody, the leading guy gives you some work and you guys are like, it's hard.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm just like, you can't do this, man. This is that, like, when I get like a new job, I'm in. I'm trying to get in. I want to work on this specific goal. If you're gonna be like everything is crunch. Now everything's crunch. Working too hard, crunch. Having a 15-minute break, crunch.
I just saw something on one of these stupid like New York Post articles on Twitter about how Gen Z is doing the whole there's terms that they use for it where they refuse to work hard, or they it's kind of like how they have these anti-work Reddit threads and shit where it's like they're working as minimal as they possibly can as like some sort of soft protest against working. And it's like, don't be surprised when you're replaced by machines in 10 years or less. Like, don't be angry about it. Don't be upset about it. Don't be shocked. Just accept your fate. You're going to get put in a pod, just like in the Matrix, and we're going to harvest you for energy because you have no other benefit to society. You know?
I'm glad I was raised right. That's all I gotta say.
Here's the thing. I've complained a lot about the way I was raised because basically it was, I'm not going to say child labor, but very shitty work environment, very little pay. But at least I have a perspective where I can look at it and go, some people really don't realize how cushy their lives really are,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like for some odd reason, people like to be in America and say America sucks, but at the same time, they think Islam is great. And I'm like, really? Why don't you go there?
You want to go live under that system, exactly.
If you...
All right, I think this is a good ending point because honestly, my wife is probably ready for me to go to bed. It's 3 a.m. where you are. It's probably time to wrap it up.
It's 3 a.m.? That's good.
Well, 3 a.m. somewhere. All right, guys. I just want to say big shout out to Mr. Hardcore Mode. He's been awesome. Been following him for a little bit now, watching his streams. Go check him out. He's the real deal. Really cool guy. So, dude, you have been a rock star. I appreciate you hanging in here.
Yeah, it's been great, guys. Thanks for having me. It's been awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate you guys picking me up. I like y'all. I appreciate y'all. If you want to see my channel, it's already up there. Minimal effort. Already put it up there. I am going to probably play. I'm either going to start BioShock or I'm either going to start playing either that or Mass Effect. One of those two. I'm going to probably start the trilogy on that. Who knows? But I do want to play retro games or even Morrowind. But I
You
also
play a
have
lot of games.
review
Look
for-
at that. A lot of games.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna be posting my let's plays up in here. It's real soon. But I do a lot of that. We try to have jokes. We have a lot of dark humor. Everybody's welcome. Y'all are cool. I appreciate you. Minimum Effort has one of the best communities out there. And yes, I do play indie games and Gooner games. I guess that's what
Hey,
I
both
do.
are good. I like to try to promote indie games when I can. So that's one of those things that I've tried doing this last few months is
Yes.
actually giving people alternatives to just AAA crap. So
Exactly. Yeah, save your wallet for
Yeah.
something good.
exactly.
But anyway, yeah. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Well, yeah, thanks for hanging. I'm going to let you get out of here, and I'm going to go ahead and get shit wrapped up.
Okay. See y'all. Have a good one.
Take it easy. All right, guys. I will catch you all on Friday. I'm going to be playing, at this point, I don't even know what. But dude, I just appreciate the hell out of all you guys for hanging, making him feel welcome. Like I said, I started following him after the whole KCD2 situation. He's a cool guy, very level-headed. And it's nice to have people who you can have good conversations with. You can disagree on a few things, but you still, at the end of the day, you realize that, you know what, we can all have our own opinions and agree to disagree sometimes and still treat each other respectfully. So, that being said, guys, I will catch some of you on Friday, I'm sure. Have a great rest of your week. Be safe. Don't work too hard. Yasuke Simulator, maybe. Maybe Yasuke Simulator, I don't know. I'm going to wait and see how truly awful it is before I play that thing, because I have played a lot at this point now of terrible AI video games, and I don't want to subject myself to that. So, if it's truly terrible, I don't think so. But we'll see.